Пошли. Все вместе. Какие ваши доказательства?
They want you to comply.
Cancel culture is about canceling.
Кокаином.
Up yours. Woke moralist.
This is systematic bullying that's happening.
Up yours.
And they believe that they can then
Woke
shut us
moralist.
up.
Not only can you take a load, you can take the ultimate load, and even better than that you find your true calling and destiny in your willingness to take the ultimate load.
They seem animalistic is what I mean.
No, they're worse than animals. Up yours.
The woke mob, they ruin everything.
They stopped
Woke
Ben
moralist.
Shapiro from going to events and speaking. They stopped Ann Coulter from doing it.
I will never surrender even a single inch of ground to a pitchfork mob.
You never cave to the mob.
We will never bow to the mob. Ever. No matter what.
Have it your way, buddy. You sons of bitches. I did everything right and they indicted me.
Do you see the final expression of cancel culture in terrorist groups like?
We'll see who cancels who.
Hola, amigos.
Hey,
Hello.
how we doing?
How are you all
Almost
doing today?
Wonderful.
I'm sick again, but what else is new? It's fine.
Oh, you're all
David's
sick,
weekly
dude.
sickness.
This fucking preschool shit. I swear to God.
Oh,
I love
that
preschool.
sucks.
The people there are great. It's great. It's a great thing. It's great that it exists. I've never been this sick in my life. Like
I'm not
getting
sick all the
fucking
time, and I got kids. I got kids.
Kids
that
are
go to
older,
camp.
right?
You're weak,
I'm not-
David, is what he's saying.
This is
I mean,
this is
my
like
daughter's
this is
5.
this is specifically a post-COVID when nobody was like out doing anything. A post-COVID phenomenon where like people have just been getting sick so often, or I should say, kids have been getting sick and giving to their parents since they've all gone back to daycare.
Yeah,
And that's
David,
the problem.
vaccine, vaxxed. Is
Well,
that
I'm
maybe-
vaxxed, yeah.
Maybe that's why you're getting sick.
I don't even
know.
think it's
No.
probably not
It's
COVID.
probably the
just like,
vaccine.
you know,
It's true.
it's
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it's the vaccine. You know, ever since
It's the vaccine.
I took the vaccine, you know, I started to feel really weird sometimes in the middle of the night. You know, when there's a full moon, I would leave, come back with no clothing. You know, find blood, like find like a sheep that doesn't have a head, like I ate it. It's just really weird. I don't know.
You know what's really bizarre? So last night I was like really, really sick, like just like tossing and turning all night, like super delirious. And all night I could not stop thinking about, oh, Andy Bashir is going to be the VP. For some reason, this was like in my brain for like all.
In
I
your
would wake
fever
up thinking
dreams?
about Andy Bashir.
Fever nightmare.
Like, what is wrong with
Andy Bashir? Oh my God.
I really did not want to think about that.
It's really weird that
That's
you say
wild.
that. And I think we have the same problem because we both do videos, but I was having the same, like, it wasn't really a dream, but it kept looping in my mind about why
You guys are having stress
Shapiro would be the absolute worst choice. And I kept running through the list in my mind and it just was replaying as if I was doing a video. I don't know why this happens to us, but I feel like it's a side effect of like
We have a news brain.
Yes.
It's always on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm also just consuming internet content constantly. I don't think it's gonna be Shapiro. I don't know why. I just have good feelings, good vibes. Just gonna say I don't think so. I think
I
it's
love
just
to hear
too much
that.
of a disaster. And honestly, it just
too many
wouldn't align with all of like how good has she been doing their campaign since assuming the throne. Since we shitpost Biden, like we destroyed him. By the way, shitposting left, high fives. We took down the president of the United States. That's amazing.
Yeah.
We should be more proud of this. We should celebrate this. All right. We took him down with shitposting right after that op was completed. Like just seconds later, like the Brad Summers stuff, not for me, but clearly for everyone else, and doing really well. You know, the polling, all of a sudden, she's closed the gap in all the polls, the fundraising, the hundreds of millions of dollars. Don't fuck with this. Like she could lose the coconut tree pill memes so fast. That's billions of dollars of free internet, just like people cherishing you for your strangeness. Like you piss on all of that if you get the guy who compared like Palestinian protesters to the KKK. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, that's racist as fuck. That's downplaying the horrors and severity of the KKK. He's not fit to be unserved as the vice president of the United States.
There's also like I didn't read too much into this, but there's like a
deal.
sexual assault case in his office as well. That
Yeah.
they had
Yeah,
to, like,
That's the big one.
There's
To
just
me,
all
that's
these
the-
things.
Yeah, that's the big
big
one.
deal.
Yeah.
That's the big one. Like that should cause people like how do you how do you have a guy who does that on your ticket if you're facing Donald Trump? Any attack you do on Donald Trump in terms of his own history with that doesn't mean as much. And I think it comes off.
You can't call him a pedophile rapist to his face, which you can do now. You have the power to do that.
Yeah.
She's like Kamala Harris is not in the Epstein files, not once. She does not appear once in the Epstein files. Can't say that about Donald Trump. He's all over them.
Yeah.
I mean, to be clear,
I
Trump,
like
is so much worse than
presidential
Shapiro.
candidates who were in the Epstein
It wouldn't help
files.
you.
Right?
Should we bring in our guest?
Yeah, I was gonna say before we get too much
Oh,
into
what
this
an intro.
conversation, let's introduce the great Zaid Tabani, everybody.
How you doing?
Zed.
I'm doing great. I just want to clarify. I came in to this podcast, and the first thing I heard was like Mike talking about I woke up like naked in the middle of like a field or some shit like that, and I'm like, what are we doing? What is going on?
This is the podcast now. This is what this turned into.
Welcome
Yeah,
to the Leftist
Zed, I
Mafia.
think that your audio is not coming from your microphone. It might be coming from your audio seems to be coming from your
That's true.
headphones.
He's right.
Yeah, it might be.
It's coming through your mic.
Oh god damn it! Give me one.
It's
What
a
the
waste of
fuck is-
a beautiful looking mic and a great voice. Don't do this.
I think I should get my lights on a little bit, even though they're going to hurt my brain.
You don't have to,
How's
David.
that?
Oh God, I felt that for you, David.
Wow. Yeah, that was like divine light.
Well, it was also the camera adjusting.
God's
to the,
come.
the light.
Wait, can you hear me now, or is it?
Yeah,
is it,
much better.
Still...
That sounds better.
Thank you.
Way better.
Why the hell did it go? Oh no, because I have my PS5 controller thing plugged in.
Was it going through that?
Okay. That's
I'm
not
a gamer,
bad
guys.
microphone.
I mean, it's not horrible, but it's definitely not like I don't want to be like on podcasts, just like hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to.
Michael Jackson did not record Thriller on the PS5 microphone.
Right.
That is
Now I kind of want to record a song on the PS5 microphone just to say
You
I
should.
did it. Yeah,
True
I mean,
gamer moment. Yeah.
get some of that Sony branding, and then they could not promote it like other things, so it'll be good.
Yeah. Zed, I've got to pick your
Hell
brain.
yeah.
It's been a while since we've talked. It's a different world now. So what do you think about the state of the election? Are you coconut pilled? Are you still doom? What's your read on
Coconut tree
things?
pilled. To be
Coconut tree pilled.
I'm much well. I
Yes.
mean, first off, like it's in. Well, I think the state of the election is interesting because it's like so. Okay, so number one, like way better situation than we were in like 4 or 5 weeks ago, right? Like to be honest, like after the debate, like when you saw the debate, like right after the debate, I did not expect like coming off of the debate for there to be an immediate everybody going like, hey, we need to drop this motherfucker. Because I thought it would just basically be paper
Not the
over
Pod
it.
Say Bros. The
No,
Pod
as
Say
soon-
Bros.
not even that, just CNN saying that. Like just
Yeah.
CNN saying that they
Yeah.
were getting that's like that's like because I a big thing I see is like whenever you see decorum kind of like drop for a second, you're like, okay, something's going on. So that was definitely like, okay, something's up. Also, so if you know, I had Evo like 2 weeks ago where I was doing the whole soundtrack and everything, and so finals day, we're just like, man, this is kind of crazy what's going on. And I had met somebody, one of the video team guys at Evo, like his childhood friend works for the DNC or something, and they were visiting just to kind of see the convention and shit like that. And I was talking to him like, dude, like I feel like this guy's gonna drop out. He's like, yeah, we'll see. And then on Sunday morning, during like when one of the song things we had were playing, I just see on Twitter he dropped, and I'm like, oh, we got to deal with this now for the rest of the weekend.
It was a breakup
like
tweet.
I mean, my first thought was dead.
I think
I'm sick.
It almost
Sick
seems
and
more
tired.
likely than him dropping out of the race. Actually,
in my ADHD.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is also like I think we all make videos. The last like 5 or 6 weeks, the most interesting thing I've like because I've tried to just see like, okay, well, this is the political calculus. This is what is most likely to happen. What's least likely to happen. And I've never had in my life Biden stands, third party stands, and Trump stands all angry at me because they think I'm not support. Like it's the most crazy. So I think like in terms of like election fervor and people trying to like throw information and bias and everything like that, I think it's pretty high. But I think in general, with the state of the election overall, way better than it was like 6 or 7. Like even the energy of everybody on this podcast is less like I'm gonna cut myself right after we fucking close.
Less morose.
Yeah,
was
way
that obvious?
less morose. Bro, boy, it was so obvious. It was so obvious. Like every time I saw Mike, he was just like on every one of his videos.
I'm not gonna lie. I took and relished and took so much pleasure in the fact that we shit posted that old genocidal freak off the highest office. All right, I'm very proud of us. That was our doing. We accomplished it. The mission accomplished.
I mean,
mission
we're taking a little bit too much credit.
It's a little too much.
No, I want all the credit. All of it. Literally, all of it.
I don't think the White House press
the shit posting left changed the world. Okay. You're welcome.
I don't seem like the biggest thing was apparently Nancy Pelosi pulling Biden into a side room and said, "Listen."
Well,
but she watches Leftist Mafia.
Yeah,
it's true. The hard way, all right.
I love that.
Well, she was doing that because of donors.
Mafia style. Yes, but like Alex Jones aside, it was the big money pulled out. That's it. There's no secret. There's not a secret mystery. It's big money pulls out. Then Nancy Pelosi's like, okay, come on, but what the fuck?
No, but I think it's even more so than that, though. If you think about it, like if you look at like how the White House and all that kind of stuff is structured and the way the power structures are, right? Like you have like if we go back to 2016 and we're looking at like analytics and all that bullshit, right? Bernie and Trump are the new model of what people consider politics, right? Where they're more direct, they're more like in general, like they seem to be that. And so Trump goes for 4 years being fucking crazy, and then everyone's like, oh, we want a traditionalist candidate. But the way the Biden campaign just ran the campaign was so like let's take aside the fact that he's fucking 81 and all that bullshit, right? Like the way they ran the campaign was just objectively really bad. Like, why are you starting a TikTok account like 2 weeks after you propose a ban? Like that's a bad fucking strategy, right? And the messaging strategy was all over the place, right? You know, the fact that your donor, like, especially when their donors started to say, like, look, we're not going to give you money, and they start attacking the donors, like, that shows that there's a lot of people, like, if I don't know how many people here have worked for, like big companies and shit like that, but that's, like, the telltale sign of, like, a big company being like, oh, well, we know what's best. These people will go along with it, and it never works. It always fucking shits the bed, and they shit the bed. Like you saw, first off, Pelosi coming out, also Obama coming out, also I don't know where fucking George Clooney coming out. First off, if this works out, we have George Clooney. Batman and Robin will retroactively be a decent film. Like
Biden already pissed off Clooney Biden had already pissed off Clooney by basically threatening his wife with like sanctions and shit.
Yeah,
being part of the legal team that basically said that Israel is committing war crimes.
She's such a better person than him in every way.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they.
Well,
what
hey,
they, expected.
Can I say one other thing? I also want the left to take credit for being profoundly right about everything. All of the last hangers on to Joe and the whole like it's only him, only he can do it, only he can defeat Trump. It's like the next day it's like history breaking fundraiser, 10,000, 40,000 Zoom calls. Fucking everyone's like, oh my god, the memes are all over the place. There's like
but the
coconut tree hill revolution. We were right about everything.
I think it's
always
I think it's worth trumpeting the left was right about a lot, but I also think I think it's also worth examining, like, yo, everybody was saying this guy was too old. Like, everybody was fucking saying this shit. Like,
they hid
everyone.
They hid it for so long. They kept that away. Like, the entire inner circle. Like, how did you think this would work? How did you think you would get away with this? What fucking Weekend at Bernie's shit is this, you know?
And not only that, like, you saw the messaging also shift. Like, you saw, like, when they were talking about polls, like, they were thinking about polls, like, way back, like, from a year ago where he was leading by, like, a couple of points when he was down. And then, like, when he lost the debate, he's like, oh, no, it's even. I'm like, what the fuck? It's fucking even now? You were losing going into this. Like you even called, like, you called the debate this fucking fucking early. Like there's so many things about this election from January where everybody was just dreading it. Like we've been dreading this shit since August of 2023, right? And like the fact that people have just even a little bit more of a pep in their step tells you how much they were just frustrated with the fact that everybody was saying this is our reality and the campaign is saying no, it's not, and why we're frustrated by it. We were gaslit about Gaza. We were gaslit about this motherfucker, right? Like at a certain point, it becomes untenable. And when the elites in your party are going, this is fucking ridiculous. Why are we going along with it? The fact that Nancy Pelosi is just like, hey, he needs to make a decision. He's like, I already have made a decision. No, Joe, you need to make a decision. Like that shit.
I love it.
That
she
shit.
says the easy way or the hard way. I want to know what the hard way was going to be. What are they going to do? Was it going to be like hanging Vanilla Ice over the ledge of the the building kind of hard way, or like I'd be so curious to know what technique.
Bro, they were gonna publicly shit on him so bad that his reputation, like if as bad of his reputation, like of a hit that his reputation took a few weeks ago, like I feel like every lever in the party would have turned and just absolutely just shit on him to an extent where it would just be like even if a Trump dictatorship happened, he would not get to live in his villa or whatever the fuck where he would be. Like it would be really, really bad for him. But post all of that, right? Like I think they would have forced him out, or they would have pulled some weird Democratic National Committee rule where they could vote against him or something like that.
See, I don't think they would have done that if he didn't choose to make that decision on his own volition. I think they would have rolled with him all the way until December, because the Democratic Party to actually have like a contested convention like that. It's inconceivable.
Yeah.
Even like if you watch our post debate coverage, we were all shocked, but afterwards we were like, yeah, even though they're talking about replacing him, none of us thought it was going to happen because the Democrats are so risk-averse.
But then we manifested that reality, Mike.
We did.
Okay?
We did.
And now we're
I texted you during that, Mike, and I was just like, you guys are my comfort food right now for how dog shit this is, dude. It was so bad, man. I was just like, I watched it for 3 seconds. Like, I can't watch this thing, man.
It was sad. As was every single like TV interview. Like they did this Clint Eastwood strategy where it's like, you know what? You think he's too old to be president? We'll show you all. And then just like fucking force feeding him down to everyone. And then it's like, this is not good. It's worse. This looks way worse. What are you doing? Like,
I
orders
love
of magnitude.
We've seen
have you
many
guys
unhinged.
fucking watched your expressions on the debate episode?
No,
I know we were probably
the expressions you guys have are just like
shocked. Just like
just that for like 15 minutes, just like no, come on, like
it was so bad.
I do know I screamed directly at the camera when he did that wonderful segue from the abortion discussion to immigration, and not just any immigration topic. A migrant murdering a young woman.
Well, because Matt, you look like a disappointed mom the whole fucking podcast that day, right? Like it was so weird. Like David is just like David was like, I know, and Matt was just like. You should have
it's just like basic,
really.
It's like basic politics. Like this man has been in politics forever, and he takes a topic that he is really strong on and moves it to a topic that he is the weakest on. Like how? How do you do that as a man that's been in politics since the fucking 70s? What is wrong?
Well, like, one of the things about politics is changing your style. Like you have to be able to adapt. He hasn't adapted in 30 fucking years. Like it worked when Trump was like, "This is so crazy."
Stay on your strong points. Like it's amazing that he just did that. He just whatever. He's gone. He's done. It's over.
Thank God.
It's over. Out of that
and now the Republican ticket looks so gross. It's so gross. it's like this profoundly racist, misogynist, and the couch fucker. Like that's what you got. And I'll be honest, the couch fucker story not being true, that's the most wholesome thing about him. Like you wish that was the real story. The true shit is so much more gross and fucked up and weird, and like the dolphin rape shit and like the burning monkey testicles, like gross. The grossest ticket I've ever seen, I think.
And the couch fucker shit is so funny because the reason why it caught on is because everybody heard that and they're like, makes sense. Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
That's why.
There's something couch fucky about you know?
Yeah, he's not a couch fucker or, a hot dog fucker per se, but there's something about him that is very sus. He gives off the vibe that he has some skeletons in his closet. I don't know.
If the only way that he would be able to make it as the VP would be he had to fuck a couch, he would do it. Because it's for him, it's all about power. He will do whatever he needs to
Black
attain
Mirror
power.
style.
So if that's if that's what he had to do, if that's what he had to do to attain power, he'd fucking do it.
He's gonna be Tim Pool's gonna get a couch. He's gonna sit down and I was like, this is kind of nice, bro. What is this? Next time he jumps on a fucking podcast. Do you guys think he's gonna drop? I don't know. I don't think
he's not going to drop. They might.
It would make
so.
I don't think. Here's the thing. It would make sense if they drop
right
him.
now. It'd make Trump look even worse.
But it undercuts their whole. It undercuts their best line of attack. I think it'll happen if no holds like oh fuck, we're really bad. I mean, dude, they're doing that. Like, did you see the polling that came out today? Fucking, he's down.
There's no ceiling on his unlikability. Like that's it.
Right.
And every like
it's negative 15.
He's
also in nationals.
He's negative 15. And he's a millennial. He's a millennial
That's
who has
so
been
crazy.
on so many podcasts. He's got so much internet history. Every day, Kamala HQ has a new clip every single day.
The
like,
dolphin
without
shit,
fail,
Lance.
You know?
We can't forget
I
the
know,
dolphin shit.
I know.
The dolphin shit.
Can you bring up, David? Can you bring up this clip from Trump's wonderful performance?
Oh my God. I missed all of you guys. Like I can't tell you like how much I missed talking about. Like I've wanted to talk about this shit for fucking weeks, and watching you guys was comfort food. I'm so happy to be on this right now. Jesus, man,
nice.
it's been.
I feel like talking about like Street Fighter in seconds more fun than talking about this. But
yeah, but then our numbers.
We'll talk about Elden Ring at some point, and we can jump into that and
okay.
Street Fighter and shit. Yeah, it'll be fun.
J.D. Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one. If he has to.
I missed that for some reason.
Great respect for him.
This was such a
Oh
disaster.
no! Wait, hold on. This isn't the whole thing. This isn't good enough. Don't play this clip. I gotta find a better one.
Just
go to YouTube. Can you go to YouTube?
He was worse in this at the NABJ conference than Biden was during the debate. Like he was that profoundly, horrifyingly bad, and just went on the attack. And like he hasn't learned how to like sell the whole like great replacement shit on white audiences.
I don't know if he was worse in the debate, man. That was pretty bad, dude. That's like
you watch it the full 30 minutes. Like, honestly,
dude, it's bad.
It's not that like so Biden does not make sense, can't communicate, can't speak, and that's just like I'm sorry, that's the reality. And then like that's as the most front-facing position, you can't do that. In this one, Trump is lucid, he's coherent, and he's just so old-timey racist with everything.
Oh yeah,
I mean, like you know, like she's not a black woman, she's an Indian woman, all this shit. Like, oh my god, wow.
They've never heard of biracial or multiracial people, but if you ask a white person, like, hey, what's your heritage? You know, I'm 10% Italian. 10% French, 20% German, Native American, 1%.
Yeah, 1% Native American.
apparently. So I heard this from of all places, Omarosa on CNN. Omarosa on CNN discussed how in Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, his favorite book, he describes himself as Swedish, but he's not. He's actually German and something else. But he thought that'd be too divisive for some reason, so he claimed he was Swedish.
Like the better whites.
This is the guy that's like claimed he's
purer
whites.
The only way to know for sure,
he thought Swedish was too divisive.
So
he thought Swedish is. Am I low? By the way, is my volume low on the?
You sound fine to me.
Oh, you sound
okay,
great.
Cool.
We all talk over each other, so we can't hear as we usually
No, you're
do.
good. I just have a weird ass DAW. Okay, good. So I'm not being two pockets. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna be pockets interrupted.
ADHD panel, everyone.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, we can't help it.
Yeah.
It's
No, I was just saying like wait, the Swedish thing is not. Wasn't that like? I forgot.
I didn't know that.
To be fair,
I did not know that. That's so profoundly funny, though. That's really hilarious.
Him saying he's Swedish, it is better. It is less divisive than him saying he's German. To be fair,
I think I probably know Donald better than anyone on this panel. Forgive me if anyone thinks differently, but I recall in his book, The Art of the Deal, Laura, when Donald Trump identified himself as Swedish. right? Because he didn't want to acknowledge that his father was German and his mother was Irish, and he thought that that would play better to those who were patronizing his businesses. So can we call the question his past of self-identifying as first Swedish, then German, and then Irish whenever it's convenient? Donald doesn't know the difference between ancestry and race. He doesn't want to know the differences, nor does he understand the nuances of how people
so weird.
And so I believe that that's disqualifying.
No, you're not.
And when he mispronounces her name, Laura, he does it as a slur. He does it intentionally to harm her, to make people see the otherness of Kamala Harris. And so I posed a question to Bruce when he says, oh, at some point she identified as this, and at some point she identified as this. Are you going to hold Donald Trump to the fire for identifying himself as Swedish, even though he has no Swedish roots, in his best-selling book, The Art of the Deal, Bruce?
Oh my God!
Damn, Bruce.
Is Bruce the guy? Is the Bruce the guy on the left?
Yeah, you could tell because of the mustache. That's a guy.
I'm
named
guessing
Bruce.
this is.
That guy looks like he's from Boardwalk Empire. Like he just stepped out of Boardwalk Empire and just jumped on the. Also, I don't even think.
Bruce.
I do think one thing that's interesting too is like if you notice, like a lot of these attacks feel very Sarah Palin-esque, right? Like it feels 2008, right? Like you have young, like fresh African American candidate versus old. You should just old and white.
Well, I think they're just recycling all the Obama shit. They're
100%.
They're doing the birtherism right now. I saw like people were getting mad on like in replies, being like, "She's Indian. How dare you claim that she's anything other?" I was like, none of us should be claiming this. She should be. What is wrong with everyone here? Like
one of the biggest
all these weirdos
too,
on the internet.
Yeah,
here's what I say.
Right. Like they also call like Obama and Arab and all that kind of stuff. Like and like the other thing about this. Yeah, and I think the other thing about this is like specifically, like there's a lot of different things where people are fence sitters on in terms of like where the politics of old are. But one kind of universal fact is like that was insane. Like that's just a universal like independent fact. Like those kind of attacks are somewhat insane, right? And when you're trying to win over an independent crowd that said we hate everybody involved here, and now the race has the entire presidential race has changed, and you're going back to a playbook that just that it didn't even work with Gen Xers. Like Gen Xers who are super anti-woke and everything like that, their whole thing is like, oh, we don't get to do something, and so we're upset about it. Like this just seems messy. Like when you have messy politics like this, it just doesn't work out well. That's why I think he thought that I think he thinks that everybody's over leveraged on the I think everybody who's in that camp thinks they're over leveraged on the anti-woke thing and they can say whatever they want. Like, especially with what's going on with the athlete today. Elena.
Oh my God. They've completely painted themselves in a bizarre corner now. Like they're accidentally woke. They don't know that, but like, wait, are you suddenly no longer like biological essentialists that like, genitals determine whether or not you're a man or a woman? Like, what are we all doing? I at a certain point, I thought like the audiences of Charlie Kirk and all those people in J.K. Rowling, do you not look around and then just suddenly go like, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? Like, what is this all about?
Like, it's grievance, dude. It's like they feel like they've lost their target. Like they feel like they've lost the fame that they once knew, even though they're still making money and they're still doing their whole thing, right? But they feel like they've lost the credibility they once knew, and they just kind of. I mean, like you look in the 60s and a lot of the other people who kind of had similar like fault, because all of this kind of stuff of people having shitty opinions and then getting called out for them has been going on for a while, right? But you see every other star and person who's had that kind of thing happen to them, and they all like end up in the back half of their career like grievance riddled insane people. Now they just have a platform. And they don't have to go to the press to try to make news every time. They can just make news by tweeting from their phone very easily. And I know that I'm saying something that's pretty obvious to everyone, but I just found it bizarre that's the hill they're dying on, because it's such a hill it's gonna fuck them in the end with the way they're treating like this athlete who is again biologically cisgender female and like because
This was
of
shared
and even
by Christina, and it's just so true. Like, why are conservatives mad
Yeah.
at the Olympics, at Disney, at Netflix, at Bud Light, about Barbie,
Wow.
at Ford, at Target, at Chick-fil-A? It's just like,
Wait, I don't
They're
remember. Why
always
were they mad at
triggered.
Ford? I don't remember that one. Why were they mad at Ford?
Probably gay.
Commercial.
I don't know. Gay
Commercial.
Gay,
Probably a
gay,
commercial.
Probably.
Yeah, I think
it
they
was
had
a commercial with I think
Pride
Alana
commercial.
Glazer or something. Yeah.
Yes. Something
Yeah.
gay about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this is one of the most weird things that I've ever seen. I mean, I can't say that because I've seen a lot of weird shit from conservatives, but like today with the Olympic thing, they're saying this about a cis woman. It takes a 5-minute Google search to see, oh wait, this wasn't a trans woman that was fighting, this was a cis woman. But they're so thirsty to find that anti-trans narrative, they picked a target. But what makes this one so fucked up is that Imane Khelif is Algerian, and you can't legally be trans in Algeria. And so now all these
her passport
people,
says female on it.
Right. You're literally not allowed to transition, and even if she did, they wouldn't recognize it. So like they're inadvertently inciting violence against her, because if a police officer is like, "Hey, aren't you that man that competed at the Olympics?" Like they can literally throw her in jail for that, and sometimes that happens, right? In Algeria, they'll arrest you if you're just suspected of being LGBTQ, or if you're straight but you act a little bit too effeminate. So like it's not just like, oh, we're bullying this woman. It's no, we're also inciting violence against her, which is so fucked up. And thankfully, it seems like Algeria has been defending her. Like, hey, this is fucked up. Like, this is our
same with Taiwan.
Didn't the
defending their
Algeria
athlete.
Fight Club like tweet the Italian, like I think they quote retweeted somebody and said "cry more" or some shit like that.
Nice.
They should.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, that is the worst sportsmanship I've ever seen. If you lose, you have to get better. I mean, for when it comes to Khelif, she's lost multiple times. She had 9 KOs, but she's really, really good. She got like 36 KOs herself. So she's a talented fighter, but you can't like pretend like she's some supernatural being. She lost in, what was it, 2021 to an Irish boxer.
She lost in the quarterfinals in the Olympics last time. So like, yeah, she's lost before.
And no one
talks.
talks
She's like
about it.
dominating the sport. Even if she was, who cares? Like, she's a woman. But she's not. Like, so
Not to turn this to beef, but I find a very interesting parallel between this kind of rhetoric and rhetoric from people who've sided with Drake during the whole beef. Okay, like I just find a direct line, because it's just one of those things where you feel like your identity
There's a Venn diagram.
is so
There's definitely a Venn diagram there.
Yeah,
somewhere,
like it's
I
just
love Venn
the
diagrams.
same.
Yeah,
which by the way makes you a problem on the conservative list. But like I think what's interesting about that whole like, especially what we saw earlier this year with that whole beef, is that you saw pretty much what a really intense media war with no like respectability politics, because they were just trying to destroy each other. Right? It doesn't matter what's a lie, doesn't matter what's true. They are trying to destroy each other at the highest level, and everybody is bought into it, right? It's the two biggest rappers of our generation there. And when the smoke cleared, it's very clear. Like, even Drake knows he lost. Like, he's putting fucking 6ix9ine God when he's bowling and shit like that, right? We all know what happened, but people are still
flooded his
on
house.
it.
God picked his
People
side.
exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, what? What'd you say?
Yeah, God flooded his house. It's like one of the plague. He enacted it upon his mansion.
There's a big flood in Toronto. His house got flooded. That's
Oh shit! Okay, I didn't know that.
With
Also, I'm
doo-doo,
sorry. I'm
too.
sorry. I'm sorry. I know David is.
doo-doo? I didn't see that.
This
Yeah, it
is
was like
a
sewage
pox
water.
on David's house because he lives in Toronto. So do you live in Toronto? Where do you live? Okay, cool.
Toronto.
You're one. You can come to California, David. We'll house you in case it gets really bad. But like, I feel like you see like that's like a petri dish of what this kind of stuff is, right? Where people can't let go of their identity wrapped up in this whole thing, and they double and triple and quadruple down. And the argument they're making isn't this insane argument that this person who is they're by their definition. Right?
They're cis.
Yeah,
they're
they're
just
cis.
cis.
No,
They have-
of course, yeah, but like,
they have
but by
differences of
their
sexual
definition,
development, that
what
doesn't
they've
necessarily
been-
make you trans. Trans is just 100% just sold the where if you are misidentified of the gender that you identify with at birth, that makes you trans. This has nothing to do with like trans. The fucked up thing about this is trans people aren't actually part of this story, and everyone is making again about trans people. You know, and this is the same kind of shit. Like this has been done historically in the most racist of ways towards black athletes, black women specifically, for a very long time. You know, whether or not like I don't think they should be allowed to compete. Why? Because they have higher levels of testosterone. It's like, so you mean that they're the best at the thing, at the sport thing, the thing that like the competition. So isn't that what isn't that the point of this? I'm sorry, I feel like everyone getting mad at this boxer being good at boxing.
David shared the best excerpt about Michael Phelps. Like, this dude is like a supernatural freak. He has a giant wingspan.
Yeah, he has an unnatural wingspan. He
engineered
has
in a lab.
double jointed knees or something. He has like all these benefits that benefit him as a swimmer. All these natural benefits, they were celebrated. He was celebrated. He wasn't disqualified because he has all these natural advantages.
And anybody who competes at the highest level.
I was just going to say conservatives don't care about equality or equity in literally anything. You'll get pick yourself up by your bootstraps, work harder. You're in life because you're not, you're stuck in life in this position, in this situation, because you're not doing enough to get yourself out of it. No equity, no equality in anything.
Yeah.
Except when it comes to women's sports, apparently.
Right.
Where everyone's got to be something they don't even care about to begin with. They don't give a fuck about women's sports, but they are hardcore about equity or equality and everything needing to be on the level. For some bizarre reason, they care about it there. And this is not the case anywhere. People like the best athletes in the world, they work really hard, of course, but I would say a lot of them, if not the vast majority of them, also just have
biological advantages.
Biological advantages.
And usually they come from wealth, or at least a better condition in a lot of cases when it comes to like the people who make it into like the NHL, for example. There's going to be class privilege there. There's going to be biological privilege. But like, yes. And again, it's like, if you want to make this fair, then let's try and make things like, on parity. But if it's two adults consenting to do, a sport or a competition before the eyes of the world, then like, honestly, people have just completely lost their minds at this point. If they're like getting angry because they think this is a man because a woman was good at boxing, it's also so condescending to women. Like, oh my god, like oh no, only men are strong. Only men can.
But
fight.
it's also antithetical. It's also antithetical to competition, because competition is always like, it always happens where like whenever you politicize this kind of stuff specifically, like. And I mean, like, I'm not talking about like Muhammad Ali politicizing the way he knocked out people and him being an avatar for anti-Vietnam stuff. I'm talking about specifically when the way you politicize like, oh, I didn't really lose that, is such a bad. It's just so antithetical to competition and how competition works in most major sports, right? And whenever you see that, it's just like it's the showing of somebody who's on their way out. Right, like if you saw like Conor McGregor when he was fucking like cleaning up everything, and then the last like 4 or 5 fights he had where he had lost consistently, he was making excuses during every single fight that he lost. Right, fucking Colby Covington, Donald Trump's favorite fucking guy. Right, getting his face beat in by Usman. Right, that whole thing, like he was making excuses throughout the entire thing. Right, like you didn't have a problem with this before the IOC started. Right, you didn't have a problem with her competing in all of the other things that she competed before this happened. Now all of a sudden this is an enormous issue. Right,
exact same thing.
What is?
By the way, there's radio silence on the fact that there is a trans man who is a boxer who I think at this point is still undefeated. And like you never hear about that story. There's a dude who's just crushing it, and because it's a trans man and they're only like always obsessed with like this is about protecting women's spaces by controlling them kind of shit, you don't ever hear about that. But that's interesting, isn't it? Right? When it's like Zed just said, like this is a case where at the previous Olympics no one said anything when she lost. Like at that point, it's like
it's almost like they have an agenda. I mean, like, can you imagine if Muggsy Bogues got dunked on and he just started crying? He's like, this is so unfair. I mean,
I know.
That's not the way that it works. Like, no sport is perfectly fair. Listen, I can't just go into a fucking basketball court I can't just go there and be like, hey,
it's not.
You can't say
fair.
basketball isn't fair for short people when Steph Curry is like, just like, I'm gonna stand from half court and make this shot. Like, it's 100% fair. You now have the advantage, dog.
It's not fair to short people. I'm sorry. Basketball is not
He's
fair
being
to short
protected
people.
by tall guys, though. So
I just love how like they're sharing the clip of Angela Carini and they're like, oh my god, she said that she's never been hit that hard before. This is ridiculous. It's like, she's a boxer. Like, they're gonna beat each other's asses. That's the fucking point. Am I missing something? Like, that's the whole point. You beat the fuck out of each other. What the hell?
That was one of the weirdest.
It's a skill
talking
issue. I'm
points
sorry.
Where it's like,
yeah.
It's like, did you see? She might have broken her nose. She was bleeding. Yeah, she's a boxer. Like
in a fight.
If there were two people in that ring that you guys clocked both as women, most likely there would be blood and black eyes even in that fight, because that's what happens in boxing.
It's like surprise Pikachu face after you get your ass beat because you boxed. You boxed. Like, what the fuck?
I need to mention this too. So my sister worked for the Olympics for a little bit. She worked on the USA rugby team for doing social media. I did social media shit for the USA rugby team. I shot a couple things for them like a couple years back before they started making huge strides at the Olympics like a year or two before. They have worked so fucking hard. And I saw a question pop up in the chat about Ilona Mahor, I think. And like, dude, it is like even that too, because they're trying to jump onto the USA rugby team because Ilona looks like somewhat stronger than it's not the aesthetic build that conservatives consider women to be, right? Like, I feel like it's like you can't protect women's sports by saying this is a woman that, like, that's not protecting women's sports.
Play this clip that I just put into the chat to show.
Also,
you.
did you guys see that? You guys saw the lady ballers.
This footage of this athlete. Honestly, she scares the fuck out of me. Like, there is literally no sport, nothing, not even chess, that I would want to play against her. Like, honestly, like I dudes, unburden yourselves. You know, you don't have to have this weird insecurity that it's like we're stronger than women. Like this. Like, just watch.
Let's go.
Just other players are rag dolls before her.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
I would never play any sport against her.
Wait, Lance, you don't think that if you just called yourself a woman, you would dominate her?
Yeah, right.
Automatically? What?
Sneak into the league? No, she would pick me up by the face and crush me. Like, lift me by the face. Okay? Like, I'm sorry.
Bro.
And like, my dudes, you gotta accept it. There's women, there's what, 7.5 billion human beings. There's a lot of women who can beat the fuck out of you, okay?
Yeah.
There's like, unburden yourselves this weird insecurity where it's like,
but
someone's good at something, must be a man, has to be a man, must have a penis, has to be a dude. Like,
do you remember that thing that Cody Johnson posted about Lady Ballers a few months ago, where he reviewed the whole movie and stuff like that, and he kind of came to that conclusion where it's like one of the points he made was like, look, this is a movie about like women's basketball, but like it's not like there's no WNBA stars in it. Right? There's no respect for women's basketball. And like, I find it so interesting, right? That like, especially over the last year, like the WNBA has had this amazing moment where you have seen these women play like more intensely and rougher than a lot of the NBA, right? Honestly, like you're seeing people check Caitlin Clark and check Angel Reese every single chance they get, right? The hazing is real. You've seen some of the craziest plays in the WNBA over the last like 12 months, which have always been there, right? But I don't see like the lack of respect for that movie and the way it portrays women's basketball to now, like you saw them kind of wade into the debate and try to play like the whole thing of like, oh, Angel Reese is this really domineering monster and Caitlin Clark is this beautiful angel, and every competitor in that sport being like, this is such a fucking stupid debate, right? Like, I don't it's not only like a lack of it's also a lack of respect of the sport is what I'm just trying to say, right? Like, there's nothing about it's so antithetical to the values of like, oh, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. These people are doing that. They're doing whatever it takes to win. And you don't like that because you're fucking losing. Right? It baffles me. Yeah. It just baffles me why we're even having that debate in the first place.
Yeah, it's just very unserious.
I do like how Logan Paul was treated though by some of these outlets. Like this headline here: WWE US champion / transphobe Logan Paul can't tell a man from a woman, offers opinion anyway. It's a perfect headline.
That's bodyslam.net. Yeah, that's a good. That's just a pro wrestling news site. Like
nice. There you go.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. You know, what's funny too is like he literally works with women who these guys will easily come for those same reasons. Like there are women who work for the WWE who conservatives would definitely look at and be like, "Oh, that person's trans. That's not a real woman," because some of them are big and strong and don't have what they conservatives view as traditional feminine qualities. So I hope when he shows up to SummerSlam this Saturday, some of his coworkers give him a piece of their mind, honestly.
But isn't it like I don't even think there's a goal. That's I think what I'm kind of freaked out by. It's like I feel like they're just throwing a tantrum. I mean, obviously they're throwing a tantrum, but there's no like I don't think they have an ideal. They are mad that women are not doing the thing they want them to do at the time, which consistently changes, so they feel better about their self-esteem, right? And I feel that's the bigger issue, right? Like the fact that women's sports exists at all is their big fucking gripe.
It goes back to them just being weird, is that like the whole abortion issue. And like this is what we've all been kind of talking about, how weird they are. And I think that's why it's stuck so much, because these people are super weird. Like, have you seen the ad? I don't know who launched it. It was a Democratic Party affiliated ad where it's just like a bunch of sweaty guys like, hey, we want to control what you do in the bedroom.
Yeah, dude.
That ad was so good because like this stems from misogyny. I think that's your point. And like it kind of like it's how they perceive the world. Like they want to control women, so that of course, it goes
insecurity
back to
mixed with misogyny, I feel like.
It's I think that's
massive
right,
insecurity.
Yeah. I'll find the ad so you all can see it, because the ad itself,
I saw you retweet. I thought it was a pretty effective ad. I thought it was a really smart way to like. I'm surprised that hasn't been an ad that's been used before. I mean, it's been memed. You've seen the meme of like when somebody says like I don't watch the WNBA, and you just see like a picture of like just a bunch of white dudes with dad hats in the middle of like a fucking like rural field somewhere.
Yeah, this is the ad that I was talking about. Like, this is how normal people view these freaks.
Us MAGA Republicans banned abortion, but that's just the start.
That's just the start. If Trump gets elected, we want the government involved in all aspects of your sex life.
Way more involved.
Way more involved.
When you have sexual intercourse, it should be illegal to use contraception. No pills, no condoms.
Your genitals are reserved for procreation.
If you freeze 12 eggs, you should be required to have 12 babies, or else you're a serial killer. And I'm definitely not a serial killer.
Are you?
Go back just to that previous guy.
They casted this.
That guy is the perfect.
He's got the lisp too. He's got the little like lilt. Yeah.
Well, do you guys remember that one photo on January 6th of that guy who was outside screaming to the air and like spit was coming out of his mouth and everything? It looks just like this guy.
Oh yeah, this is I think the best ad that has ever been produced.
Serial killer, and I'm definitely not a serial killer.
Are you?
My son monitors my porn usage to make sure I'm not self-pleasuring.
Just like Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. That's true, you can look it up.
Don't you think that's normal?
Yeah, I do.
It's normal for your son to do that.
You should have a family member monitor your porn use too.
Because pleasuring yourself is very, very naughty.
I'm voting in November.
I'm voting in November. We're all voting in November. Are you?
Because what happens in your bedroom is up to me.
Is up to me and my son. Also, mouth stuff is a sin.
That last part was so disturbing.
That's phenomenal. I love
really
like
good
one
ad.
guy in the tweed, like the red like sports coat who's just like I'm
He's
a
the
professor who
intellectual.
Yeah, very clearly.
He's the Jordan Peterson of the ad.
Yeah, he's the one that's tweeting at us. It's like, actually, you dumb liberals, you don't actually know what a woman is, so gotcha. Like that's exactly the motherfucker doing that. That's what he looks like. So ridiculous.
What else
Okay.
happened?
Yeah, what else
Let's
happened
change
this week?
topics.
I feel like there's been so much that happened this week.
I
You guys
can't
see
believe we sort
Machino
of just.
Dorito?
What's that?
Oh, you didn't see that. So Machino Dorito is a really well-known TikTok influencer and stuff like that. I vehemently dislike him, but it's whatever. So he makes a lot of jokes and stuff like that. He's very anti two-party system, which it's fair. He's very leftist. But earlier maybe a little bit in the last week, he posted something about like when Kamala launched, like juxtaposing it with Sonia Massey, saying like, hey, now anyway, something about like after a cop kills like an unarmed black person or something like that. He's like, and now you need to vote for the cop. Blah, blah, blah. And it was seen as like, okay, well, that's kind of fucked up that you're using the death of an unarmed black woman to kind of make this political point. Like a lot of African Americans were making that point. And so then he decided to make 2 follow-up TikToks where he pulls a book from his shelf from a Black Panther and another African American activist, where he tells black people that they're elitist careerists for criticizing him on that. And explains it to them.
Doubling
and
down.
Then got destroyed over the last like fucking week, with everybody coming out of the woodworks, including other people who were just like, by the way, I fucking hated this guy forever. And then he just recently came back and decided to make his first 2 TikToks dancing to Eminem's Toby. Because he's just having a time.
Cancel me.
He's having a time.
cheese.
I think the other thing, and this is something that I felt specifically as a Muslim person, right? I felt very frustrated, like over the last like 8 months, because I've known about Gaza since I was like 7. Like, or just even the situation with Israel and Palestine since I was like 7. That's something Muslims, like, just when you grow up, you just know about that thing happening in the world. And it's something that preys on you all the time. I knew about it during the war in Iraq. It was a huge thing. I knew about it every single time tensions flare up there. It's been a part of my life. Something that has been very frustrating to see is watching specific people, not you guys, but specific people jump in and like kind of fetishize it. And there's a huge war on TikTok going on right now about that, about who's being performative about this and not. Because this genocide didn't necessarily start post October 7th. It's been going on for a while. There's been an apartheid there. There's been all of these things there. And there's a lot of white leftists who really want to make it their identity for standing up for this.
War profiteers like Jackson.
Yeah, man.
Like,
and
straight
it's
up,
not,
Like, by the
like-
way, like some of
Yeah.
these people aren't actually on the left. They do shit for clicks, right?
No, of
like
course
they're-
not.
bro.
You know,
No,
these
no.
extreme
He's an
communists, and they're, like,
anti-LGBTQ
very
plus.
pro-Russia.
Yeah, no,
and
I
it's
know.
like, this is bizarre. Like, what's wrong with you?
They hate queer people, like MAGA people hate queer people, but like, it's if you want to say that, like, you want social conservatism, but also I'm a commie, wink,
Yeah.
kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I kind of classify them as.
And it's just one of those things where it's very interesting to see people like that. Was something that upset me, especially over the last few weeks when talking about the whole election thing, was like even just simply suggesting like what was going on, like even simply suggesting like, okay, well, like Kamala Harris can do this and all of these kind of things. I got comments about, you don't really care about the genocide. I'm like, bro, like this has been a thing in my life, like growing up in post 9/11 America, where you felt like, okay, Muslims are going to be rounded up and killed. Like you're worried about, there's a lot of talk that was going on in the early aughts about literally identifying Muslims by that kind of stuff. So that's been a big fear for every single Muslim in Michigan or out. And we're not a monolith, right? Arab Americans, brown people, South Asian, like there's so many different sects of that. But I think something that like it's interesting to talk about is just like there's been a huge battle going on TikTok between leftists about, you know, okay, support Kamala, don't support Kamala, Kamala, you know, support her, don't support her, you know, who's being performative, who's not being performative, right? And I feel like that influencership has gotten, it's just gotten like to peak mass. Right.
I think people aren't properly picking their battles in that case. Because like ultimately, like I don't know how much you want to flex that you're the one true leftist or something like that. But if you are a leftist, you're picking your enemy. This is a character select screen for your enemy. Do you want to play on nightmare mode or easy mode? I would recommend playing on easy mode. Like pick someone who's already maybe aligned with a lot of the things that you are already aligned with. And on the other end of the, like the other person, like it's all going to be about recovering ground if you get like a far right extremist who comes into power. So like I don't get why people would like, why do you need to go, like these aren't your enemies. Like someone who's like, wow, I'm kind of excited that Joe Biden, that genocidal old freak, stepped down. That's kind of neat. This is historic, you know, like why would you go after that take? And
but these are also conversations that we have to have. There are conversations we have to have within that I don't think we have. All this stuff is meant to shut down conversation in general. Like I think it's worth having a conversation. Like we were like, I think you guys were talking about like Shapiro and everything like that earlier, like about who Kamala's going to pick for
Shapiro.
her
Don't
VP.
do it.
Yeah, don't pick it. Yeah, I don't think it's that. I think especially that scandal, the most recent scandal, it's pretty bad, dude. You know, and so like I feel like those are conversations we have to have, but we can't have conversations because I think maybe people. I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place, but I feel like a lot of people tie their activism to influencership, and that's not new. But it's getting worse. And one thing that I do think is very positive. You asked me when I came on, like what I think about the state of the race. I think the most positive thing about the state of the race, kind of like a positive thing that was when Jon Stewart came back right earlier this year, was like, okay, the hyperbole of all of this is it's just there now. Like it's very easy to see, like the fact that people are having conversations like what's performative and what's not is important, because I think the influencership around politics has destroyed our ability to have substantive conversation about how to deal, what's the best way to advocate for Gaza, what's the best way to like interact with a vote in general, right? What's the best way to
it's the same. I think it's the same problem where you also get it from, say, like liberals who love doing the the trolley cart problem to people online, where it's just like multiple things can be true at once. All right, and it is completely like valid for someone who lives in another country to witness what is happening and the United States funding it and providing all the weapons and be like, no matter who, this is just going to be a genocidal, horrifying administration that fucks over millions and millions of people. And then people who live domestically within the United States, it's also totally valid if they're like, yeah, by the way, I happen to be LGBTQ plus, or I happen to be a woman. I don't want my womb controlled by the weird fucking couch fucking dolphin guy, right? Like that's, but both things are true, right? Like, you know, and if you're fighting each other, you're ignoring that like there is a common enemy here, and there is a way to like, you know, maybe, I don't know, sit one retweet or take out and do it strategically, maybe.
Yeah,
like
fighting each other is not praxis.
Vote shaming doesn't work.
Vote shaming doesn't work either way.
I don't think it works.
And it's not praxis to fight each other. It's just, it is performative, and it doesn't actually lead to anything, because at the end of the day, people are going to do what they're going to do, right? Like I think that you have to make this decision on your own. And if you are like, if you're making a strategic vote, I think that that's perfectly valid. But if you live in, you know, a blue state or a red state, and you're like, oh, well, I don't want to support Genocide Joe. That's valid too, especially if you're an Arab American who's completely disillusioned by this because you have family members that were killed. I feel like people need to stop
them. I'm not even like, I'm not even talking about Arab Americans. I'm talking about just specific. I just get very annoyed when people like, I just don't like performative activism, because it takes away from people who need, like, I'll give you an example, like positive like I follow TikTok a lot, right? Like Yuval and Ayame were these two well-known influencers. They had this whole thing about will they, won't they, interacting with one another over like a period of weeks. And every time they did a piece of their story, in order to actually have the story progress or them actually meet, they would put up a fundraiser for a family in Gaza, right? And they got a lot of families who needed that money to be able to leave Gaza, to be able to find a way to get their family to safety. They advocate. That's advocacy. I think that is absolutely what it should be. I dislike people who make content for themselves just to like. I just don't like it for their. I just don't like the ego of taking whatever is going on there and putting it on yourself. Like, look at me. Yeah. I'm so because I'm so and that Machino Dorito stuff just reeks of it. It just reeks of it. You know, like and.
Well, I like that he was doing white splaining.
I'm not trying to beat nuance to death here. I hate that kind of shit, you know. So
yeah, it's insufferable when people act like they're better than everybody, or they know the answers. In truth, like nobody really knows what the best answer is. We live in very flawed, fucked up systems. We're in late stage capitalism, globally speaking. So like,
except the shitposting left. Only trust the shitposting left.
We're the only ones, right? We're right about everything. Yeah. But like, nobody has like a silver bullet. It's like trying to hit a moving target, and you know, a lot of it is emotional. A lot of it is practical, and we all try to separate it. I just feel like people need to give others a little bit more grace. Like I see some people who are like shitting on lefties because they're, you know, shit posting in favor of Kamala Harris. It's like, look, dude, for the past couple of months, we've all been kind of distraught about the prospect of, you know, a Trump presidency. Let us just have this moment. You know, as we said last week, as somebody in the chat said, let us lib a little, okay? We're lived up right now. We're all gonna, you know, we'll all come back to reality on November 6th, you know, when Kamala is the president. We're not under this delusion that, oh my God, she's going to be a panacea. She's the next Bernie Sanders. She's a typical Democrat, of course. Like, she's already done things that I disagree with.
Speak for yourself, okay? Speak for yourself. We're not under that.
Bay photo says live, laugh, love. Exactly.
Kamala Harris is going to usher in the new age.
You fucking carpool karaoke lives. Jimmy Fallon lives. It's happening before my eyes.
People have to shut the fuck up. That's just what it comes down to. Some people just have to shut the fuck up sometimes. I need to take my own advice to shut the fuck up, but like, stop being overly judgmental. Like, you're not perfect if you're fucking not strategic voting. Like, you just, everyone shut the fuck up. Holy shit.
I don't even know who you're yelling at anymore, Mike.
Who's our enemy?
Everything went silent. So
I like how that went from you know, performative activists are terrible, and Mike was just like, yeah, I need to shut the fuck up. I'm like, no, Mike, we're not talking about you, Mike. It's okay.
No, you're good at it.
I'm vocally subtweeting some tweets that I see where it's like, oh, I see some of these lefties. They're all excited about Kamala. It's like, bro, we're not under the delusion. Like, we lived through Obama. Just stop. Okay. Holy shit.
Oh, I know a big story we have not covered. And if any of you haven't done it on your channels, you're cowards and shame on you.
Oh, what is it?
What is it?
The revelation that Elon Musk is potentially a baby fur and was kicked out of the baby fur community.
I don't even know what that
what's
is.
A baby fur?
I don't know what that is, man.
What the hell?
What's a baby fur?
I guess I'm not as totally online as I thought.
I don't believe for a second you do not know. You knew.
No. I didn't know at first. And I reached out to very large creators, and some of whom are within the furry community, and I was dead wrong. I thought a baby fur was someone who was like trying out to be a furry, like, you know, like you're just dipping one toe in it, but you don't really know. Nah. Baby furs are an overlap between people who are into infantilization play, like pretending to be like an adult diaper baby kind of shit, mixed with furrydom. So they play baby furry characters. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
And Elon Musk,
where personally? I'm more concerned
Where
about
did
him
you
being a
get
Nazi.
This, hey, it's on knowyourmeme.com. All right, this is now a matter of public record. Okay, people were digging up. So, by the way, Ken Klippenstein is part of the story. I don't know why, but there's this old tweet that just resurfaced of Elon Musk having some debate where Ken Klippenstein asked him, "Are you a furry?" And he says, "Fur curious." Now, people have pieced that together with other elements on the internet that show that Elon Musk has, in fact, already impersonated children. He's got a burner account that's been verified to be his, where he does infantilization play and pretends to be a child. A picture was just released. What? There's a photo of him dressed as a baby fur. Yes, someone had it on their phone. They're like, I just had to dig through tens of thousands of pictures as soon as I heard the story to show all of you this. But this is Elon Musk dressed as a baby fur. But it could also be him at a music festival dressed in a furry onesie.
So he was. Wait, we have to go back. This is my boomer brain is trying to process this. Elon Musk was dressed as a furry. But like a baby version.
Lance, I'm looking this up right now. I swear to God, if this becomes my algorithm, I'm gonna be so fucking mad at you right now.
This is so fucked up, and I've seen so much on the internet. But what?
Elon Musk baby fur rumor refers to the viral rumor that American entrepreneur Elon Musk had an active interest in the baby fur fandom, which is a subgroup of the furry community whose role play as child characters. Spawned by a viral X post in late July 2020. This is recent. The unconfirmed rumor became a viral subject of speculation and memes in the following days.
It's not my thing, but it's harmless. Like, I think the real harm that
it is absolutely. Hey, no. I am not kink shaming. I'm not kink shaming. If anything, to be honest, furry stocks are soaring right now. Okay, furries, they're having a great time. They hacked Heritage, the Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation. Great job, furries. That was gay furries, by the way. Fucking props to the gay furries.
I linked the picture Lance was talking about. By the way,
no hate. No hate on yeah, put it up. We should show the world. Let's. I guess this is not news to everyone else, but
oh my god.
And good on the furry community for kicking Elon Musk out of their community prior to him joining, right? Kind of thing too. I mean, that's
is this not just him wearing a onesie?
So that's it.
Right? I think it's just him wearing a onesie.
It does look like him rolling a joint, wearing a onesie. Could be at a music festival. I too have worn onesies, and I'm not a furry, so it's not indicative that you are a furry or part of that. You have to be someone who's into.
I just want to clarify. You told us we were cowards if we did not cover this story.
Oh, absolutely, you are. Oh yeah, no. This is breaking news. The world needs to know.
We're doing it right now. See, I don't know. Based on the description of like baby furry, I don't necessarily see that with the picture of Elon Musk, but the picture, like the onesie he's wearing, is very gay to me. I'll pull it up so that way.
I think if you get to a point in your capitalism journey where people are speculating if you're a baby furry, I think you've already lost the fight. I think if that's a rumor that anybody takes beyond, like, that's ridiculous. Like, that's he looks like
this is a long time ago. He looks young.
He looks like Walter White on Halloween, dude. Like,
it does. Again, I there would be existing photos of myself at music festivals, high as fuck on life, really, really fucking high on life at music festivals, wearing a furry. Yes, absolutely. And when you're really high on life, plushy and fuzzy things feel nice and wonderful. So
can you stop saying that, please, Lance? Can you stop saying high on life over and over again?
Wait.
I don't think that means that he's a furry, but that's just funny that that's the call out that's happening right now, because
furries are pretty
who are furries.
Like he's probably not that.
They've been tweeting about this. People in the furry community have been tweeting about this.
Did you guys talk about his daughter calling him out?
Oh, that was like
I haven't talked about that, but
she became so beloved overnight in 24 hours. Like it's so funny. He spent $44 billion to be like the most popular person on Twitter, and within 24 hours his daughter fucking just like smokes him. Everyone's like, oh my god, you're amazing, we love you.
It's not only that, like the other Threads is doing actually pretty fucking well as a platform. So Threads monthly active users have been kind of steady at about 175 million. Twitter is down to 330 million monthly active users.
From which what was prior to?
I mean, I think at one point it was like 600 to 700. I mean, it's not doing well. Like it's always been, but like the lowest of like the big three of those, which is like TikTok, Instagram and everything. Yeah, that's the thread. The fact that she did it on Threads too is kind of wild.
So this is his daughter's account?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, it makes sense because
daughter.
a lot of people who left Twitter, or just people who want a positive social media sort of experience in general, Instagram is the place for that because you can have super specific control over what gets what comments are left on your content. You can put no comments. You can delete comments, like specific comments. Like if someone says something you don't like on Twitter, you can't in replies to one of your tweets, you can't delete that. Like you could block them, but everyone else can still see it.
Also,
but everyone else
the
can
content
still
is
see
more.
it.
The content algorithm is more specific because the way Facebook and Meta do content is so engaged with your engagement, but Twitter will filter other people's engagement into your feed. If you just if you wink, if you just say hi to them once on the street, you're seeing all of their tweets the next day on whatever section.
Right.
It's
Right.
wild.
Right. So if you're someone on Instagram for that reason, but you want like a text posting app like Twitter, then Threads just makes sense. So it makes sense that she would post it on there.
Yeah.
'Cause where else would she? Blue Sky? I mean,
she could have posted she could have posted it on Twitter, but I've and had it been.
I don't think she wants to use that. I don't think she wants.
No,
to do
definitely,
that. Yeah.
definitely. But I think that's an interesting. The fact that this went viral as much as it did and made headlines and everything like that.
Well, yeah, because it was such a great clapback to his bullshit. He did that whole TV interview where it's just like most people who are deadbeat degenerate fathers don't turn it into a movement. That's what he did.
Right.
He's just like straight up, like, you know, hey, everyone, the woke mind virus poisoned and killed my kids and all this kind of shit. Like, fuck you. You're just a shitty ass father. That's all you are. You know.
Do we want to read this? This actually, I just skimmed it, and it seems like she was really, she was debunking his bullshit. So this is what he responded. Somebody shared like that Jordan Peterson clip, and this is him responding saying that she was born gay and slightly autistic, and I knew from when she was about 4 years old. She'd pick out clothes for him to wear and say it was fabulous, and she loved musicals and theater. So this is her response. She says, "There's a lot of stuff I need to debunk, which I will get to, don't worry, but I want to start with what I find the funniest, which is the notoriously slightly autistic tweet. This is going to be a bit, so bear with me. This is entirely fake. Like, literally none of this ever happened, ever. I don't even know where he got this from. My best guess is that he went to the Milo Yiannopoulos School of Gay Stereotypes, just picked some at random and said, good enough, in a last-ditch attempt to garner sympathy points when he is so obviously in the wrong, even in his own fucking story. I did not have a love of musicals and theater when I was 4 because, you know, I was fucking 4. I did not. That. This is actually fucking hilarious. I did not know what these things were. My earliest real experience with musicals was when my twin brother had a Hamilton phase in 8th through 9th grade and overplayed it so much in the car to the point where for a long time I swore off the entire genre. I never picked out jackets for him to wear, and I was most certainly not calling them fabulous because literally what the fuck? I did not use the word fabulous when I was 4 because once again, I would like to reiterate I was 4. This is actually hilarious. Like, this is so obvious, I don't even think it warrants explanation, but apparently people believe this nonsense, so here I am. This entire thing is completely made up, and there's a reason for this. He doesn't know what I was like as a child because he quite simply wasn't there. Goddamn. And in the little time that he was, I was relentlessly harassed for my femininity and queerness. Obviously, he can't say that, so I've been reduced to a happy little stereotype fagging along to use as his discretion. I think that says a lot about how he views queer people and children in general. She is dragging him. Oh my God. As for if I'm not a woman,
this is your first time reading this?
I love the sure Jan. Like the
yeah.
Jan.
I heard that she responded, but I don't think I read
him
this.
out of the stratosphere. That's what I'm saying. He spent so much money on Twitter to become the main character, like to be the biggest fucking followed account. I'm
surprised we're not playing the ether beat as Mike narrates this for us. Like
this is I've never seen a kid clap their parent like that before. Like holy shit. Okay, last one.
Jackson Hinkle's parents. Come on.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That one's up there.
Touché. As for if I'm not a woman, sure, Jan, whatever you say. I'm legally recognized as a woman in the state of California, and I don't concern myself with the opinions of those who are below me. Oh my god. Obviously, Elon can't say the same because in a ketamine-fueled haze, he's desperate for attention and validation from an army of degenerate red-pilled incels and pick-me's who are quick to give it to him. Go touch some fucking grass. My god, she destroyed him.
He also posted, "I'm looking pretty good for a dead bitch," and I was like, "Holy
what?" Oh my god!
Yeah, I was like, "God damn!" He just fucking blew Daddy out of the water.
She has everything that he doesn't have, which is humor, and intellect.
Yeah.
So I could see why he hates her, even though it's his
Way
kid.
better poster. Way better poster. And you know that's what he cares about more than anything. You know, he wants to be a poster so bad. He just doesn't have it.
But I think also that's a great like lesson in clapping back against a lot of these grifters, because I just love the like, listen, you like a lot of times we get bogged up in like, well, we have to present this like it's a lawyerly case of like, this is fact and fiction, and she's just like, this guy's a fucking idiot, all right, like just from the jump, he's fucking stupid. What are we doing? What are we doing? And that's the tone everybody should have with dealing with a grifter.
Yes.
It's not, well, actually, if like this isn't like Phoenix Wright where we're presenting evidence. It's Phoenix, suck my dick and shut the fuck up, right? Like that's what it should be every single time, period, point blank. Because why are we listening to a crazy guy on the street like with $1 billion telling us shit? Like he's crazy.
Yeah.
He's fucking crazy.
If
bro.
he was at a bus stop espousing the same shit, you would like fucking you would walk across the street, right? Like if someone was just there, like, oh, we have to inspect the genitals while sweating, you'd be like, oh my god, what the fuck?
He looks like a Meat Canyon cartoon. Wished it could be a real boy. All right, like I don't need to fucking listen to that guy.
Like,
Iron Man 2's worst cameo coming back to haunt us.
Oh, he was in Iron Man 2, wasn't he?
He was. He thinks he's Tony Stark. He's not. You know.
No.
And like I said, and I think it's also like it's like I remember John Oliver did his whole piece on him and stuff like that. And look, like I think it's somebody who had we've talked about this before about like his influence on Tesla and what he did and everything like that. There's things you can say that okay, this was great. Yeah, but
he's like Thomas Edison for inventing.
Definitely, right? Like, and there's things that he's done like in terms of like business wise that are great because they've done good things in terms of specific industries. But all of the damage he's done over the last it's a very mask off moment. Like this is a guy who tried to advocate so much for like, well, if you have more money and success, then that means that you should have more influence. And he is the poster child for why that's bad with how badly he's fucked up every mistake he's made, you know, especially X. The reason I brought up those numbers, like if your chief competitor Meta, who has shit the bed so many fucking times, is suddenly competing with you on your text app, like if they even have like a little bit of market share, that's bad, bro. That's not good. Like I work for Evo.
And the reason they're doing so good is solely people looking for somewhere that's similar to Twitter but not Twitter because of what Musk has done to it. Like there is I mean it's different for me personally because of how I use Twitter and the audience I have on Twitter, but for most people, and I can even see this with just being on there. Just open up Threads, open up Twitter, and look at the feed that's presented to you.
Yeah,
one is a lot more enjoyable, and one is a lot more stressful.
Yeah,
in your face. There's going to be drama and problems.
Oh my
but
god!
The culture of Twitter also lives off of quote retweets. Like a lot of times when people go on Twitter, you can tell. Like there's points where I have opened up Twitter, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to just fucking shit on somebody talking shit on this subject, right? Like a lot of people feel like they want to quote retweet somebody who is disagreeing with them to drop some knowledge on them. And first off, that's bad because it's antagonistic, and it's also bad because like why are you dropping knowledge like that? Who the fuck? Like who are you to drop on fucking Twitter, dog? Like there's been points where like Especially when my channel started to take off, my girlfriend would come up to me and she'd be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm on Twitter. I'm responding to somebody." Like, she's like, "I want you to say that phrase out loud," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I have to back the fuck away from it.
That works. They try to do that sometimes. Sometimes you'll get that warning where it's like a lot of users don't enjoy the way you're speaking right now. They're like, "Fuck that shit!" Like, double down, caps.
I mean, we've been, and honestly, like, what is it like? We've been talking about this since he took over. We're talking about gaslighting. Every single thing people said would come to pass came to pass. There are more bots,
except that it hasn't completely fallen apart. That's it.
I never thought it was gonna.
Everything's worse.
Completely die.
Everything's
tomorrow.
worse. Video is so bad. It's unwatchable. It is like I can't play it on streams. It like within a couple seconds, it always gets that spinning wheel of death all the time now. It's like it's got to be the worst video player.
And Threads added trending topics and browsing. They added it. It's not as robust, but they've added it. And I feel like that's a beginning of a problem for them, right? Mm-hmm. It's the Threads is Rock Band and they are Guitar Hero. That's great. You guys are doing great with your Slash right now. I don't think you're going to be around in a year or two.
Also, there's a lot of fake activity on Twitter that's not on those other platforms. Like a ton, just a ton. It's a lot.
The PIB bots kind of went away though.
Yeah, that was funny. After taking over the platform for a while, I mean, like you could post about the most horrifying tragedy going on in the world, and suddenly just my feet in bio, my pussy in bio, my cock in bio. You're like, oh my god, what the fuck? Bro, this is a very weird app.
I posted about my father passing away. And the first thing was like pussy in bio, right? And it's like, what is this? Bro, I'm not kidding you.
Oh my god.
One. Yeah,
that's
dude.
So fucked up. That's
wild.
So fucked up.
Wild. He would have laughed. Wow. But I
that's true.
He's somewhere just click on it. And I'm like, no.
It's funny now. I feel like we're getting PIB bots on YouTube. At least I am. Every time I post a video, I'll get compliments of like, "Wow, it's such an engaging topic." Like 10 seconds in, and it's just like a close up of like a bikini shot, and I'm like, I don't understand why is this happening on YouTube.
I didn't know that. That's really
steal
funny.
Comments like giant. Like somebody will write like a giant essay about like the detriments of the two-party system, and then you click on their thing, and it's like all like, by the way, you want to see me in my own like just something crazy, and you're like, what is this? They have 2 subscribers and they joined like an hour ago. Like,
God.
One of them has to be real. There has to be at least one woman who really wants to show me her pussy in bio, right?
Yeah.
At least
I mean,
one.
I'm flattered. I'd love to think that all these women are like, "Oh my god, please let me show you it." But it's like,
it's to show you this pussy. It's the greatest pussy of all time.
Like, ladies, let's calm down.
There's statistically there's just one who's like a real. It's like, God damn it! I thought YouTube was the place to do this. The perfect storm.
God.
What happened to David? Is he gone?
He said he wasn't feeling very good, so he was gonna check out. He said earlier he might because he wasn't feeling very good. Yeah.
But did he? I don't think he said anything though, right? He just disappeared.
No, he put a little note in the private chat.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
Oh,
okay.
Always check the private chats. Yeah, you never know what's gonna be there. Might be a little P, or a B in the private chat.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Was it?
Okay.
Thank you for that, Mike.
Yeah.
What else? The problem is we did like a speed run. Like,
yeah,
we definitely should have talked way more about that Trump interview than we did. We spent like 2 minutes on it.
I'm down to go back and talk about the dumpster.
I mean, I'd be down to watch some of the.
Have you ever? First off, dumpster fires don't
funny.
Yeah, dumpster fires don't get less interesting the more they flame on. They just smell.
No.
Like,
it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have all the clips.
Yeah, it is so funny. Oh
yeah, I'll pull it up. I did a video on this, so I have all the clips like.
Oh, you do? Oh, I didn't know. So let's start with the
I'll pull it up.
Okay, let's start with the first question. Then let's go to him claiming that Kamala isn't really black, and then let's go to the clip
doing the one drop rule.
Right, and then there was the clip I was trying to find before which was about JD Vance and whether he's ready. But we need the part before with the question.
I just want to preface by saying that, like, when Joe Biden was in the worst of the worst, and when he was basically, I think it was during the BET interview, I remember thinking to myself at some point or another, this dude is going to drop some weird old timey esoteric slur, because he's a racist, right? Joe Biden, 1994 crime bill. He's reverting to that kind of old, like, super predator shit in his own mind, but he doesn't know it. So I'm like, he's going to do something. He's going to say something. Like, he's going to say a slur that we don't know, that we have to Google. And we're like, oh my God, ew. Something like that. Is going to happen? And so I was really scared about that. So I'm so happy they took him out. And now it's so profound how much, like, Trump is doing the same thing, right? Like, this is the guy who took out a newspaper ad for the Central Park 5. His brain is molding into goo. And he's just like, he has no other, like, he doesn't have another speed, essentially, except like attack, attack. Anyone who says anything bad about me, attack. I don't care. Fuck you.
Well, and keep in mind that people were saying that this was a really hostile interview. She starts out by quoting him. And conservatives were like, can you imagine if Kamala was asked this? Yeah.
Yes. Unbelievable. No, again, like, you can just see like the patience of black women who are consistently like condescended towards, told that like, oh, you're too loud, oh, you're too blah blah blah, all this kind of shit, and just like being so calm, collected, and doing journalism. It was journalism. Like, this is what you should do. You are across from the fascists. Also, it's your opportunity,
But also, if you're like, I just don't understand like the idea of like people not understanding that if you're in that job, like that's like 95% of your job is taking hard questions. Like it's 95% of like, listen, like whenever you have like Biden has lost his job because he couldn't take hard questions. Period.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's 95. Like since fucking Teddy Roosevelt, it's been the bully pulpit. It is a very like front-facing job where you're supposed to look.
It's the most front-facing job.
Yeah,
the most in the world. The most front-facing job in the world.
Exactly, and it puts pressure on people with levers to do things that they need to do because their jobs are in danger for going against how strong of a front-facing thing you are. Right? The system is broken in that regard, but I don't understand how you jump on stage and you're not. Like, I get the Roy Cohn-ness of it all, of like just deny. But at a certain point, if your goal is to project strength, you just look like a bitch, dude. Like it just looks.
Who refuses to debate?
It looks like a bitch. And I'll bring it back, not to bring it back again to the not like us thing, but like look at other figures who have done this. Look at fucking DJ Academics, who fucking he's known as a glazer. Because of the way he just goes and figures, like he just can't take a hit. Like you look bad. And
it was really funny that he was invoked in the beef too. I love that. Just watching him react to hearing his name.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like let's just be very real. Ben Shapiro is the DJ Academics of the Trump world, right? Like let's just be very real of that.
I like that.
Yeah.
That.
I got no idea what any of this means.
There's like this is all gibberish to me, but entertaining gibberish.
Have you not looked at any of that beef?
It was explained to me.
He's rock and metal.
Bender, I am so mad at you.
I want to start.
You need to do this. Like, okay, first off, this is home.
I think me and Mike are the hip hop
to shame Bender into doing this. All right, this
I
needs to be your homework.
I don't care about this beef.
I don't care if you don't care.
Yeah,
this is important.
You're
an American cultural critic. You need to know this.
This one is.
Oh, God damn it! All right, fine.
My partner was like, "It's so cute how like all you boys are just so invested in this, and you're like pulling apart all this. This is grown men writing poetry about each other." And she's like, "It's so cute."
The song is good.
Every detail, nuance, and like
Bender. When we eventually meet, I just want to see you crip walking to not like it. That's all I want to see. I just want to see you crip walking.
I don't know if I can do that.
I too want to see that. Yes.
Break the internet. The Bender creep walk. The Bender walk. Bind walking. Bind walking.
Oh, I like that.
I should create my own. Yeah.
You should.
Because it probably will not look like what you want me to do, so it will need to be called something different.
It'll be Bender. It'll be Bender with an SM7B in his hand, just talking about. The Twitter API is terrible, and I feel like
Twitter API is terrible.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the first part, the very first question he was asked at the what is it? NAJB. I don't remember. Oh, all right. Okay, I got it completely fucked up. But
what did you think it was?
NABJ.
National Association of Black Journalists. I could not remember the acronym for whatever reason. It scrambled
now remember,
up in my brain.
Mike has these clips because he ostensibly did a number of videos.
I watched I prepared so much that I essentially watched this conference now at least like 3 to 4 times to prepare and to clip it out. So yeah,
and still had no idea where he was. Apparently,
no, it's just late. But
also, why is Trump sitting in the most unflattering? Like he's sitting up, but he looks like it's just the most unflattering position. Like, bro,
he takes the water bottle. He gets so mad that he takes her water bottle and starts twisting the cap and shit. Like it's really
I didn't notice that when I watched it. Yeah, until somebody else pointed it out. That was really weird.
Oh yeah,
I
didn't notice that either.
Yeah, I don't know if it's in here because I'm not sure where it is. But this is the first part.
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Okay, so we get to his answer.
Whose channel is this?
This is David
trying
Dole.
to brand themselves before.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That was the Humanist Report, and asking Trump that question. Obviously,
yeah.
All right, his salty ass response is still so shocking. Like it's not shocking because it's Donald Trump, but you just think that he'd have at least a little bit less hubris.
If he just cut the saltiness, he would have knocked that question out of the, he would have been able to, like, just from a political calculus, he's a crazy racist person. But like he could have very easily just been like, if he just did his whole shtick, like I've been the best, I'm Abraham Lincoln for reincarnated into this giant orange Pizza the Hut or shit.
I've done more for black people than Abraham Lincoln. Like, what the
if he would have just done that, like it would have been.
I mean, he does do that. He does do that,
yeah,
but not
after
only.
yeah, but you can't. You can't shit on the floor and then bring pizza and then being like, "Hey, isn't this great?" Like, no, you shit on the floor first before you brought the pizza.
His dialogue tree goes like this: either brag or attack. It's that. That's the all he can do, right? And so that's like this entire thing. He just switches between bragging and attacking. It's one of the two.
I love how this first part is so bad, but like somehow it gets even worse after this, which is mind-blowing to me. It's so mind-blowing. Okay, so this is his salty response.
Well, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with
Steve,
ABC?
You have 1,000 N-words.
Fake news network,
I've been
a
by
terrible
1,000 N-words. How could you?
I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense.
That is an
and then you said,
lie.
you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming.
No, she's not.
And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something
Mr.
was
President,
wrong.
I would love
think
if you
it's
could
a
answer
very
the question
nasty
on your rhetoric
question.
and why you
I have
believe that
answered the
black voters should
question.
trust you with another 4
I have
years.
been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President
That's
Johnson,
my
who signed the
answer.
Voting Rights
And
Act?
for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Jesus Christ.
Because you couldn't get your equipment to work. Like, he doesn't know. Like, that's such a rich asshole thing to say to somebody who's a member of a crew. Just like, you couldn't get the equipment to work. Bitch, shut the fuck up. Like,
Right.
you know how that shit works, bro. Shut your fucking mouth. Get out. And then, like, you thought like Joe Biden's gonna be there so you can have a mock debate there. You're so full of shit.
He did not
So
think
full of
that.
shit.
He's running from that shit.
Yeah, of course. You think Joe Biden's like, oh yeah, we had that bad interview with Stephanopoulos. We're gonna book this as well. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here.
This next clip is a quick compilation of just like the times that he took some pot shots at Rachel Scott, which is the woman who asked the first question. And it was so random. Like, he blamed her for the audio fuck ups and whatnot. It's very weird. So I'll just play this. It's pretty short.
This woman was unable to get the right equipment, but it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually. But so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it. Yeah.
And 2 days after that?
I cannot understand. Your microphone
I know,
is so
it is really hard for me
I
to
mean, it's just,
understand you too.
I can understand you perfectly.
Because
Whoa.
she's closer.
I can understand you.
Happy to hear that, sir.
But I can't
Really happy to hear
understand. This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where
Sir,
I
if
have
you
a
don't mind, I'd
hostile
love to.
judge.
We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different
No,
topics.
excuse
if
you.
we
You're the
can.
one that held me up for 35 minutes, just so you understand.
But here's the question. Would you consider stepping down if you felt that your health was declining? Or would you?
Oh, absolutely.
And who would make
I think I'd know.
How would you make that decision?
I think I'd know. Look, if I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely as this woman treated
Oh my goodness.
me,
Oh my God! Shut the fuck up.
The fact that Harris
just
Faulkner
can't help
of Fox
himself.
News is like, oh my goodness. I mean, that's when you know
He
you
just
fucked
can't
up.
help himself. He just can't
Yeah.
help himself. Do you have the
demon.
yeah, I mean, because she asked him. And listen, like, she asked the question straight up. Oh, hey Mike,
too
how are
close.
you?
Sorry.
She asked the question exactly how
you did that.
those
You did that.
questions-
Oh, sorry. That's it. That's just my YouTube channel, my well-known YouTube channel, The Humanist Report, which you can subscribe to.
But I mean, she
Just kidding,
asked
I'm
the
just
questions exactly how they should be asked. Like, she didn't do
Yeah.
anything wrong. Like, she wasn't even rude. She asked a hard question, sternly and professionally. I'm sorry if he's used to, like, someone throwing him softballs and being all friendly and giggling as they're talking to him. Like, maybe he gets on, like, Fox and Friends and stuff like that.
Well, but do you think he's even following the like Roy Cohn like because that's the thing everybody says he's the counterpuncher, right? He always talks shit. But like, do you think I don't even know if he's following that handbook anymore? Because you got to know that like it feels disadvantageous to do it in this situation, and you would kind of you would probably play it a little bit differently. But the fact that he keeps going back to it, I understand. Like,
well,
I understand the narcissism of it, right? But like, you also have to like, if you've seen him talk in interviews and what his whole philosophy is about doing press, his philosophy is you never let him get an inch edge, like you never let him get any inch on you edgewise, right? And a way to do that is to pivot or is to direct the question. If he keeps going back to this one grievance he had, he sees that he's being booed, like it's not working. Well, there's a Fox News host on there as well who's not particularly happy. It feels like,
Well, it also just shows you how they've always been in this weird safe space, like weird echo chamber. Like they're not used to having people confront them about the actual things they say out loud, right? Like if you are consistently doing this weird little circuit where it's like Breitbart, then Fox News, then all this other shit, Tucker Carlson, all these other shows, you're not going to have anyone just be like, that's profoundly gross. Like this opinion or take or idea you have is really sick. Like, no, half the population shouldn't have to show you their menstrual cycle charts, and you shouldn't have an app that tracks their wombs. Like this shit is profoundly gross, right? But like you don't get that when you just go on this circuit. Like every video that like a Ben Shapiro or Tim Pool or Steven Crowder made about the whole weird stuff, within minutes they were saying the weirdest fucking shit right afterwards. Like I don't know if you watched the Making Kelly and Ben Shapiro one. Literally a minute later he's like, oh, they're the weird ones, they have giant brand titties in the White House stealing giant space. And you're like, oh my god, this is so weird.
I don't pay attention to Megyn Kelly and her like poorly optimized YouTube dog shit channel. So I'm not gonna fucking
it's so bad.
Dog
so
shit
bad.
channel. Like, and then on top of all of that, like I don't even know why Jesse Waters is speaking. Like for the like after he did that like I don't know why he wasn't taken off of that channel with how unfunny he was on that one segment where he went to Chinatown and tried to throw in a bunch of weird Asian American stereotypes and got ripped the fuck apart by all of like he did that thing like if you vote for a woman then you're actually transitioning. Like shut the fuck up, Jesse. Fucking
but this shit is strange as fuck, right? Like if I have a lot of friends in my IRL who are not like this, right? They're not super political. If you talk to just normie family members or people who aren't really tuned into politics, they don't think this way. Like they're not just like Bud Light makes you queer and like shit like that. Like that's just profoundly strange, you know.
I think what I find annoying is just like again, like I just come back to the them projecting it like it's strength because it's just such it's so bitch made, dude. It's just like coming from like hip hop and other shit where like your reputation is on the line and you are talking shit to destroy somebody else's career and watching people get so fucking bent out of shape over fucking like, hey, you said these things, defend it. Like, what are you doing? Like 30 minutes late, you're gonna get all fucking mad 30 minutes late. Bro, like that's 30 minutes late in production is like a fucking miracle. Like, what are you talking about?
Everyone sounds fine. I don't know. Like, maybe it was just you know.
That's I'll give him that. That's probably the monitors on stage because whatever you hear,
is that it? Okay.
Yeah, whatever you hear them listening to, right? Like, there's also monitors on stage that they have to have so that the speakers play back to them. So whatever they're probably saying into the mic because they're far enough away. Right? It'll probably play through the front of house speakers so people in the back and everywhere in the audience can hear them, but they on stage can't fucking hear anything. So they have to kind of hear what's going on in the back. It's a hard
even though everyone but Trump has no trouble with it at all.
No,
like everyone else hears each other.
A couple the lady on the edge of the couch said that she had difficulty hearing.
The Fox News one. What's her name again? The Fox News host? Harris Faulkner. She agrees with Trump that it's hard to hear.
Hard to hear.
Do you think she's defending him, or do you think she's being? It's plausible that it could have been like.
I think she's probably exaggerating, but maybe there's a little. She just wants to be a little bit.
She started out kind of giving him softballs, but as it goes on, because he's just being so profoundly strange and racist, like eventually it got to a point where I think everyone roasts him. Like by the end of it, I was like, everyone is lighting.
She asked
you
some
up,
pretty pointed questions, like about JD Vance, and you know, she for the most part, she wasn't her typical Fox News self. She had the kid gloves on, right? But she still was trying to like get him to answer questions that he obviously didn't want to answer. This next part, by the way, so this is when this is the worst part of the whole interview, where he talks about Kamala not being black, and then he went on Truth Social and doubled down and shared a video of her with Mindy Kaling, and they're doing some South Indian recipe.
That's why Charlie Kirk and everyone else is showing that video.
Yeah.
All they think it's a gotcha.
Mindy Kaling is like, hey,
do.
We're both Indian, so this recipe is for both of us. And Kamala's like, yep. And they're like, see, got her. She's not black. She said she's Indian. It's so fucking insane to me.
Yeah, it's weird. I had no idea that this was a thing. I was seeing
think,
posts where a guy was talking about. He's like, "It's really strange that she speaks differently when she speaks to different crowds." I was like, "Is this baby's first code switching?
Yeah,
like, what's going on? Like, what's going on?"
honestly, like with this whole thing of them like saying that she's not black, I honestly can't help but hear it in like the Borat voice, like them going up to her and being like, you are black. Not.
Well, I think the actual quote that he said is that she turned black. Like he actually says this. So I'll play this. There's a lot to this, but I think this one is like the worst part. So we have to at least watch this.
Have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? You tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it.
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
Give me a definition.
I was like,
give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you
again. This is because you're in an echo chamber. Like if you talk like other people don't think it's the N-word, right? But if you only hang out in the right wing where they all think it's the N-word, it's a substitute for thing I don't like. Then yeah, you're gonna talk like this. But normal people are like, wait, what? That's the literal definition.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they forgot that it actually is an acronym that stands for something. Like it actually has a big. Like he asked her, "What do you?" And she answered it very easily. And then he's like, "Well, yeah,
it's the definition." Yeah. Oh, you
He
would.
thinks DEI. Literally, DEI is a verb. Like day is a verb.
Yeah.
That
He thought it was a
people use.
gotcha. He's like, oh yeah, well, let's see you define DEI.
Yeah.
You got me, sir. That's what she expected.
I just, oh man, I love how she's like, that's the literal definition.
My grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards, Kaiba. Just racism.
This shit is still wild to me after watching this so many times. All right, here's the second part where it gets way worse.
Wow. No, you have to define it. Define it for me, if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So, I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly, very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She is always identified as a black woman.
I respect either one. I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became
all the way.
Come on, now do you see it? Now do you see that this was worse?
Somebody should look into that
Worse
too
than
when
the
you
debate.
continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire?
He's like, did you all see what's her face? Laura Loomer was doing the birth certificate, posted their shit. There is nothing here to indicate someone could be African or black. And I was like, in the thing that you just posted, Jamaican father right there.
I think he thinks a mixed race like a. I think he thinks a mixed race like a talent tree. Like when you're born, you have to select the talent tree.
Yes.
To what build you want.
Character select. Yeah. Your attribute settings. Like yes, +5.
Oh.
Like what are you doing? What are we doing here? Have you all just learned for the first time what multiracial is? You complain about this shit all the time. You're always complaining about it, and you don't even know what it is.
Well, here's the other thing. Like I don't even think that I think the cartoonish racism is one thing, but also the way that he tried to throw that attack out with I've known it that seems like they tried to workshop that. Like that seemed like a plan of attack. I don't know who the fuck is on his team, but bro,
MAGA.
That's some
it.
severe,
Just MAGA.
Yeah, that's
the only people
incompetent.
who don't see this as profoundly racist and strange is MAGA. Like old white dude being like, "You're not black. She's not black." Like what the fuck?
But that's such a bad line of attack. That's such a bad line of attack. You know that's not going to play well to independents. You know that's going to Also, you have been trying so fucking hard while saying the worst shit over the last 8 months to not bring up birtherism again. And this is it immediately calls back to it. It immediately calls back to it. It immediately embroils you in the worst thing. Like I feel it's as time has gone on, it just seems they are so ill-equipped for what would have. Part of me thinks about it this way too. Is so much of their campaigns, Biden and Trump's, were built on. They were trying to buff themselves up, but it just the majority of the electorate doesn't like these guys. They are the most reviled candidates in history.
It's a gross ass ticket.
Yeah.
It's a really gross ticket. One of the grossest tickets in American history.
I know we like to think that MAGA people just eat them up, right? But listen, the stands for Trump are people plug their nose and vote for this guy as well, which is insane that they do that, but they do that. The fact that the race has changed, I don't think he understands that he is an unpopular candidate. Like he's profoundly unpopular. His entire platform, the reason it was doing so well was in comparison to Biden. It was the same strategy Biden had. Trump is bad. Don't vote for this guy because he's going to destroy democracy. Don't vote for Biden because then you're going to have a woke land where everybody is trans and Olympic athletes actually win their medals and then we can't complain. Like he wanted to have it was profoundly the other guy is worse. That was the whole strategy. And that's probably why we felt so similar to 2016, because that was both of their strategy. Now the race has changed and it's not the other guy's worse. This is also, we have this historic candidate. This candidate is better. And they're still feeding in the other guy's worse without understanding that they are profoundly damaged with the way things have changed. The latest poll that came out today was +7 Harris. It's been a
was this national?
Yes.
Wow.
And by the way, there's three fucking swing state polls where she's taking a lead.
Mm-hmm. Which is crazy. There's a poll from what was it? Bloomberg. I can't remember. Morning Consult, where it was a swing state poll showing her +11 in Michigan. And I talked about that in my video today. And I'm like, I think this is probably a sampling error or an outlier because I can't see this being, that far away. This is going to be close. And then another poll came out. I don't know who did it, where she's at +7 in Michigan. So I was like, oh, so it might actually not be an outlier. Like she might actually be ahead. It might be a trend.
Liberals, we told you. We told you.
So
listen to the left. We have been telling you this for so long.
And we what
so somebody say I turned into a commentator. Like I literally have a video series called Zaid Talks. Like of course I'm a commentator. Like what are you talking about? Like I'll give you the news.
Why
and I'll give you
commentary
political,
too. Zed? Why are you bringing politics into this?
Yeah, you're probably more knee deep in the news than us because not only do you see the news and read the news, you have to write songs about the news, which is infinitely more difficult.
Bro, I'm trying to and I try to be but look, even if you take my opinions and what I feel is right or wrong out of it, this is what the race is. That's objectively what it is.
Literally,
the race has been about who is more negative from jump since August of 2023. It's not about that anymore. If Donald Trump would have came out to the NABJ and would have been like, hey, I am the greatest, I'm like the Bill Clinton strategy. I'm actually the first black president, even though it's a really fucking racist thing to say, right? I've done more for this community for this reason. They love me here, blah, 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 blah. Tons of people would have disputed it. Tons of people would have said some shit about it. But it goes with his tone. He would not have, he just didn't need to flub that. He just needed to have that as like a little sign tent post that he's showing up and not being crazy. That's all he has to do. The more combative he is, it brings back every bad memory you had of him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have somebody to compare it to now, right? Mm-hmm. Because as much as Harris is tied to a lot of the Biden administration's issues with Gaza and with, I don't know what's going on with her, like talking up the border and shit like that. She's kind of fucking up on that. But all of these other issues that they can hit her on, right? It doesn't really work because, let's be very real, Biden has been the one in the headlines, Harris has not. And she's consistently signaling that her campaign is trying to take a different tact and have a different face on everything. It's the one really smart decision the Democratic Party has really made in a campaign in years. In years. So, like, I think what I'm so profoundly taken aback by is like the amount of money and time the Republican operation tried to really figure out to try to make this comeback happen. They try to make Donald Trump's comeback, which is very hard after you cause a fucking insurrection. Like, they tried very hard to make that happen, and they're shitting the bed right now. It's like it's either they're just profoundly incompetent, or they really don't know how to deal with this, right?
Yeah,
which makes them profoundly incompetent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as Nikki Haley said, of all people, the first party that replaces their old candidate, they have a better chance of winning. I'm paraphrasing, but like I think that what she said was absolutely spot on. Everybody felt it, and right now it looks really good for Kamala. Things can change, but I mean the trends right now are not looking good for Donald Trump, and him just doubling down on the she's not black
and things can change. Yeah. Did she pick somebody?
No, we're saying don't pick Shapiro. But
don't pick Shapiro.
Don't pick Shapiro. That'll be a disaster.
Or Kelly.
I agree with everything.
Kelly, I think she could weather. I think Shapiro has too much baggage,
sexual,
especially over the last.
Cover up, like the allegations. That is going to be the biggest albatross.
You also lose the
neck.
uncommitted voters. You lose all the uncommitted voters immediately if you pick Shapiro. Yeah, you can't. You can't have someone comparing Palestinian protests to the KKK. That's
Bashir is also really strong.
Profoundly
Bashir, I think what's wrong. I think also like also there was something about Tim Walz also having some issues with like the way he handled protesters and everything like that in general. I think in general like it's more than. I think we're still thinking about the electoral map is important, right? But politics have become more identity-based and nationalized, right? And of course, like if you're trying to pick somebody,
wrestling now.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're trying to pick somebody,
Hulk Hogan's out there, baby. Come on.
I understand the idea of like trying to pick Shapiro because you want to shore up Pennsylvania, but I don't think that's a good electoral strategy. Especially with the last like 48 to 72 hours, like if we removed our morality out of it, which is hard to do because everybody puts their morality into what they want to do with voting. But like, even if you removed your morality out of it, it's just a bad strategic pick, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to give you the 3 to 4 points you need, like in a meaningful way, and then you have to go back through the Sun Belt to make it happen, right?
Yeah, she
you
can
want to
win
be able to control the
Pennsylvania
news cycle
without him. That's like you can't just bet. You know, I get it. It's a lot of electoral votes, like 1920. I get that that's important, but there's so much that you're losing. So much that you risk losing in picking somebody like that. So we find out on Tuesday.
And you have a different coalition too. You have a different coalition than Biden does. Like it's becoming more and more apparent how much your coalition is getting reactivated over the last. And then also I think the biggest thing also is like you're getting the Biden voters to come onto your board. The biggest issue they've had, and we were talking about the TikTok like fight between leftists and everybody like that. The biggest thing that signals is it keeps you want to control the news cycle for the next fucking 100 days, right? Like the biggest advantage you got by switching people out was that now all of the news is who's going to be your VP. What's Kamala going to do before?
Everyone forgot about the assassination. That's one of the most batshit assassination attempts in world history.
They're so pissed.
Face turns.
They're so pissed. People moved on. They're so angry.
And then also you have a convention coming up, right? If your convention is like, it just needs to be like stress free. I'm not gonna like I worry about like Shapiro being picked and everything like that, but like she has advantages. I think that she can possibly, but it's just not a good idea, especially in the last few days with the amount of information that's come out, the amount of stuff that's come out against him. You know, like it just doesn't work. Part of me thinks that her team is going, you need to pick this because it's an electoral advantage. And part of me also thinks that they're having other people in their back pocket because they want to see how things. But also, like, I don't think X is the best indicator, like for public opinion, just in general. Even though we like to think it is, because everybody, it's a bad indicator for public opinion because everybody.
Hitler's bunker. That's what it is.
Well, I think that like it sounds silly, but like Lance had a really good point about how, you know, if you pick somebody that kind of takes the wind out of the sails of young people who are shitposting online, that you're losing a lot. Like people don't understand how much momentum
organic
young people can create
that is
organically.
Billions of dollars.
Yeah,
billions of dollars worth of
TikTok.
Yes. Oh my God. Have you looked at TikTok for 2 seconds? And they have, by the way. This is the reason you're seeing the Brat Summer. Like it doesn't appeal to me at all, but like this shit is actually clever. Like right now, and fucking like Mike, I don't know if you've been like Pride is going on right here right now. So like the gays in Canada are all about the like fucking the Harris campaign. Like they are so excited, right? Like it's just like it's outrageous. So I was like, there's this new energy to the whole thing. do not shit on that. Like that.
Yeah.
That again is it's.
You
so
cannot
valuable.
underestimate that.
No.
I mean, people don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, if you go back to 2016, like with the Donald and whatnot, all that energy. Like, even if you hated Donald Trump, you can't deny the energy from people that were shit posting and joking about it and having a good time. Like, those things are very helpful. Like, it's not decisive at the end of the day, but it's just like that extra boost that gets other young people who are, they're not paying attention to politics, but they see the memes and they're like, hey, what's going on? Like, you can't underestimate the value of that. And so, like, she just has so much going for her. And right now, you don't need to kill the momentum, expand it. And that's how you really, you could crush it, I'm not saying that if she picked Shapiro, the momentum would die, because like Zeb was saying, I think that, we're overestimating how much people on Twitter are going to, dictate the election. But I mean, still,
Shapiro's a bad pick, but
if you think about the uncommitted movement alone, that's a slap in the face to them. Like, all those people who could be writing for you or could be persuaded, now it's a lot more difficult to get them on board if you pick somebody who said that the
he's also a
protesters
school
were like
voucher
KKK.
guy too, right? Like, he's shit across the board.
Yeah, he's pro charter
the
schools.
school voucher shit. Like,
he wants corporate tax cuts. He has an Obama impersonation that's so insufferable.
It's so bad. I can't unhear it. Every single time I see clips of him now, all I hear is him doing an Obama impersonation. I'm like, oh my god,
I cannot stand that shit. Beto O'Rourke got under my skin. Pete Buttigieg got under my skin. Stop being a swagger jacker. Come up with your own persona. I hate the fake Obama bullshit.
Yeah. The Obama impersonation is so cringe.
I think the other thing about, oh my god, I just completely forgot. I had a really good point and I completely forgot it. You were talking about, what were you saying, Mike? You were saying about before about Shapiro and I think the thing about it too is it's not necessarily that she'll it's the momentum that you get. There's a famous photograph that I think everybody here has seen in 2008 of Obama at an Ohio rally, right? The photograph went wild online at the time in MySpace or whatever the fuck you were on back in the day.
Whatever.
Yeah. I'm old as fuck, bro.
I think it was MySpace back then.
Oh, we're all.
Yeah, it was MySpace.
Mm-hmm.
My beard dye is going wild right now. So I think something that people don't remember is when that. Wait, was that again? What?
Do you use ICQ? Did any of you use ICQ? Am I the only one? ICQ, the chat thing.
I remember ICQ. That's back in the.
I'm MIRC AIM guy, but pretty much what ended up happening was, as soon as that it was basically Obama at a rally, and there was it was in Ohio, and it was just fucking a sea of people, and I remember that happening, and people said this is getting wild, this is getting crazy, and at that point I just remember being oh, he's gonna win this shit, that's just, it's over, how the fuck are you gonna, how do you compete with that? How do you deal with that, right? And Donald Trump can brag about his rallies, but that was a fucking checkmate kind of move. Okay, something is going crazy, and then you started seeing people oh, I want to be part of something historic. I want to vote this person in, and that became the conversation. Hillary Clinton never hit those heights where you're selling out all of Ohio, because there were so many reservations that she had that she didn't adequately push off. And part of me thinks that that's where this is trending towards for Kamala, right? I think Trump wants that enthusiasm, and that's what he always wants to kind of because he has such this chip on his shoulder because he's so mad at fucking Obama for all these years. And I think
he needs pardons now too. Let's be clear. The guy needs it. He's going to be sentenced. We forget about that, but a judge is going to sentence him to something. He's 37 counts or whatever. That's
doesn't the Supreme Court decision undercut that technically?
Well, there's still what delayed it.
Which one? Case? Well, I was going to say the one that gives him superpowers.
Yeah, the one that makes the one that makes him find the Infinity Gauntlet, and then he can snap his fingers, and Robert Downey Jr. comes back as new.
Yeah, the one where he was convicted already isn't necessarily germane to that. So I mean, it was delayed just to kind of be a little bit more scrupulous, but he's still going to be sentenced in September, and we don't know if that's community service or prison. But I mean, it's still he needs that pardon. He needs to win for his own ass.
Do you guys think that if Trump had dropped out, instead, and we gotta like. Do you think it would have been the reverse if we got like let's say JD Vance, let's say JD Vance stepped up to the plate. And and he's the do you think that he would have had the momentum? Do you think it's a young thing, or do you think it's Kamala herself?
It's probably both. I think that people didn't really have people didn't really know Kamala. They just had like this negative opinion of her.
Yeah.
She was hidden away. They just heard attacks. But now that she's speaking, people are rethinking Kamala. Like those opinions were not set in stone. They're just like, actually.
She was it's only now we find her ironically funny. Now as soon as you cross over and you start getting that kind of like the cool aunt, couple Chardonnays and Aperol Spritz in the afternoon, little Valium, and then all of a sudden she's like waxing poetic on all this strange shit, being like, I love school buses and Venn diagrams.
Like it's a little endearing and dorky.
Yeah, you can't. You know what? I fuck with this. This is cute.
Also there's a difference between her like when she didn't have the nomination. You can sense like there's always this kind of desperation with politicians that they're just like, oh man, like you guys got to pick me or I'm gonna be, and that just kind of bleeds into their campaign a little bit. I think that like if you notice, like Pete Buttigieg was doing so well when the Democratic primary was going on, and then as time went on, he just became more and more insufferable with the way he pivoted like to more of the sense. Like it became worse and worse. I think her just having it, just being like, okay, well, yeah, I'm in the seat. She's a little bit more free to be like, okay, let me just shape this, because she seems more at ease with the way she's speaking and the way she's doing things.
Yeah, she's really found her
than
like
she
mojo.
Ever did. It was a lot for like she had that one moment in the first debate where she called out Joe Biden for being racist and then was like, I'm gonna be your VP, bro. But I think the first debate like she had that strong thing, and then she came up in the polls. She went down in the polls because that's how fucking primaries work, because they're dumb. They're necessary, but like the way fucking horse races and shit like that work in general.
And also there was like 35 people running too, so it was very hard to maintain a lead.
Oh man, that was wild.
There was multiple nights with like, all right, we have the B team coming up.
So, the B team
like,
debates, because there would be so many people. There's like just too many people running. Like everyone wants to be president right now.
You saw the LeBron James of the Democratic Party. Now wait for the Bronny James of the Democratic Party, averaging 2 points a game, and his father brought him here.
I think that the thing with Kamala is that she's always had fairly good political instincts. Like she has one of the most progressive voting records as a senator. And when she was running, she was very progressive the first time. She supported Medicare for All. The problem is that she doesn't stick to her guns. Like she ran away from Medicare for All. And that's when her campaign started to kind of collapse, where she's like, actually, I don't want to get rid of private insurance. And then towards the end, like
this tells me she can be bullied. We can bully her,
which is a good thing. But like before she dropped out, then she was, the last debate, she was pressuring Elizabeth Warren about trying to get her to agree to like ban Trump from Twitter. And it's like, bro, what the fuck happened here? So she has talent, and she has good political instincts. Now it's just a matter of like her trusting her instincts and not trying to like listen to the consultants and the strategists. Like, don't overthink it, just be yourself. And I think that the reason why she's doing so much better now is because she's just like letting her hair down and being herself, and she's way more likable than other politicians because she just seems like free and fun and pretty endearing. Like I hate the whole cliche about a politician you want to have a beer with, but like, she's a politician you want to have a beer with. She's the fun aunt. So that's why I think it's Kamala, and it's also just like the savior because it's not Biden, it's not the old dude. So it's a little bit of both to your question, Zed.
No, for sure. And I think also the marketing side of things, like if you're looking at like, just because elections are just giant fucking marketing popularity contests, right? Like I think if you're looking at the way it is, like a lot of people have tried to market the idea of like, okay, well, you have the city voters versus the rural voters, and the rural voters, especially in the last few cycles, like white white non-college educated voters have made huge strides in significance. And now that the coalitions are changing and everything like that, I think a lot of people feel like, oh, well, the internet momentum is not real. to be fair, I think we talked about how X is not like really indicative of people. But what I think is interesting about specifically social media platforms and memeing and all of those kind of things, which the Trump campaign figured out, and I think the Harris campaign is figuring out a little bit more, and Biden kind of figured out with the Dark Brandon thing, is that you're not going to have an immediate effect by playing into this kind of stuff, but you will have a long-term effect if you play into it. So like Brat Summer, not everybody is a Charlie XCX fan, but when they just hear it from the side that something is happening, they'll jump onto it and they'll be more akin and more receptive to it as time goes on, right? And if people think a party is happening and they're not a part of it, like everybody's having fun somewhere and they're not a part of it, they feel more gravitated to try to find out and investigate it and become a part of it. Like, so not everybody's gonna see your meme on Twitter, but they'll be outside at something, at a functional event or in line somewhere or with a friend, and they'll be like, hey, did you see this meme? And that's how that spreads organically through social interaction. And like, I know I'm like kind of being all heady about it, but I think that kind of strategy has definitely helped in the last few weeks, because I've had more conversations about the presidential election that have not been like, oh,
right. Yeah, the vibes are different. Nightmare world all the time, nonstop nightmare. Again, because they got so gross. Because the right have become so grotesque.
You have conversations,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so it's 7:45. We should probably get the super chats, but before we do,
7:45.
Zed,
you over there on the West Coast.
Well,
7:45
/ whatever it is,
Where do you
on
live,
the other side of the country.
Hey, Mike.
I'm in New York.
Fucking loving
You're
that
in New
West
York?
Coast life.
Binder. The next time we have a fighting game tournament, like in New York or Chicago, take a train and I will get you in and you can come hang out with us, and I'll fucking like any of you guys are invited if you want to come through. And
I want to hang out IRL. I I IRL shit.
Yeah,
I'm a grass toucher. I love to touch the grass.
Oh, lovely. So we have a combo breaker is in Chicago during Memorial Day weekend. So if you want to come through,
whoa, no way.
Yeah,
no way.
That's like,
so we can
like
hear Mama Les
8
speak.
months away.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. We're like, so if we're not in a dictatorship and you want to see people play Street Fighter, oh man, it's gonna be a good time.
Yep. If we're not in the camps by then, we're gonna be having some fun.
Zed, do you want to plug your shit? Where can people find you if they enjoy the sound of your voice?
Thank you so much. Thank you guys also for having me. Sorry I rambled a bunch and was all over the place.
No, shut up. We love having you, and we love your input and your commentary.
Yeah, and we all have ADHD,
I appreciate
so we're fine.
Yeah, absolutely. You're in good
company. I actually clinically do have ADHD, so don't worry. You're in good company. Yeah. It's not just the memes.
You can find my channel like Zaid Tabani, so just youtube.com/@ZaidTabani, ZaidTabani. You can search Freestyle the News in YouTube. I do a news show every single Sunday where I wrap all of the best news stories, and then I do a little bit of a breakdown right afterwards. I also have another show where I talk about stuff every so often. If you like music and you like fighting games and stuff like that, like Street Fighter and everything like that, I am the music director of Evo. So we just released the new Evo album for the big event that just happened called Rush, the Music of Evo 2024. Oh, you listen to it? Oh,
yeah. No, I see your posts, and I just like I love nerdcore, I love hip hop, and I love video games. So like I fuck with that shit. Yeah.
So we did a fucking K-pop song this year too, which is what's crazy. Like it's a bunch of different genres, so it doesn't have to necessarily be rap. If you like rock, if you like Paramore, we have a fucking amazing Paramore-esque song. If you like Ruby, that Rooster Teeth series that unfortunately went away, Casey Lee Williams is on there and she's fucking killing it. So it's a great album. I'm really, really proud of it, even though it took every single ounce of life out of me to make that album. But it's available right now on Spotify and Apple Music and all of that kind of stuff. It's a really good time. I promise you'll have a good time with it. I appreciate you guys for listening to me, and I hope that if you disagreed with me or any of those things, know that I love you, and maybe we can have a Red Bull and talk shit together, because talking shit is fun. Also, whatever you do right now, I know that you go subscribe to my channel, but after you subscribe to my channel, I want you to go to Matt Binder's channel, and I want you to constantly put in the lyrics of "Not Like Us" into every one of his comments, and I need you to let him know this is a deal breaker. You need to follow this beef, Matt. This is important. If you
got so much catch up to do.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, random shout out to FD Signifier. By the way, FD Signifier's new. I've watched maybe close to, I'd say, 50 or so videos on the Kendrick and Drake beef, and no one comes close to how deep FD goes. And I think it has a large part to do with the fact that he's older. He's older, right? Like, so he's an old school hip hop.
I need to watch
FD
that.
went to Evo, and I was trying to find him, and I couldn't fucking find him. So I'm.
Oh really?
FD,
oh no way,
bro! Check your fucking DMs, bro. Like we were hitting it off on like the podcast. He's like, "Oh man, I really want to go to Evo." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then like we didn't fucking meet up. So
big time, big time to you. Oh no,
I'll put you on a fucking mad.
Just want to say, if you are going to come to my YouTube streams and just spam the live chat with "Not Like Us" lyrics, preferably not the certified pedophile line over and over again or something like that.
Matt's trying to make a salient point. You just see people going, wop, 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 wop.
That would be so funny.
I mean, yeah.
That's amazing.
Do you guys? I only have 2 super chats. Do you mind if I read them first? Because I do have to watch you go, but I'll stay. I'll stay for a while.
Yeah, feel free. And Zed, feel free to stay as long as you want to, or bounce. It's totally up to you. Usually we go a while, so
Give me 1 second.
Okay, go ahead, Lance.
Well, okay, while he's doing that, can I thank A85 Ramos for the $5? If Shapiro is so popular in Pennsylvania, literally has only served 2 years as the governor, why can't he just win it for her without taking up the VP spot?
Great point.
Agree. Yeah. Cosmere Dragon with the $10. Will you post a video of your reaction from the infamous Trump interview? Your analysis was on point, made me giggle. I'd love to send it to friends for a chuckle. Absolutely, I will. Layla Spellwind with the £5. I initially didn't like you. I don't know why, but I'm here now. Wishing you a lovely day. Thank you for the content. That's probably the most wholesome super chat I think I've gotten in a long time. So that's cute.
How
cool.
do you not like Lance at first? He's just so wholesome. Like, I don't understand that.
There's a very large section of the internet that really hates me. They call me a race traitor. A lot of the alt-right and the far right, like they have a weird, like I'll find people will send me links like, hey, have you seen this? And I'm like, ugh, it's gross to look at because it's like people just like going into weird details about like he's a race traitor who like betrays the white race and all this other shit like that. And you're just this is profoundly strange people.
So
it's you know what's interesting is I've never been called a race traitor by the right, and that's because they assume I'm not of their race.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, but when I saw your last, I thought the same thing too. When I saw you, I thought you were mixed race. When I saw my, well, I guess you technically are, right? Italian and Jewish, but like
that's when not I saw mixed race. No, I'm white.
It is. Yes, so am I. But my mom's indigenous, but I'm white, right? Like it's the thing is like, how do cops treat me? White as fuck. I have talked my way out of every police encounter that I've ever had, because yes, I do have that privilege, kind of thing.
I didn't know Matt was white. I thought you were like Irani or something like that, dude.
Oh yeah, everyone thinks I'm either Latino or Middle Eastern of some kind or Indian. I get, any of those three.
You get Indian?
I do. I mean, my last name's Binder. My last name's Binder, so that's sort of it makes them. But it's actually like a German, like a Jewish German last name.
Oh, you're a spy, dude. What the fuck?
I'm a lot of things, but all of it white. Yeah.
Different kinds of white.
I'm Prussian. I'm British. I'm Italian. I'm Ashkenazi Jewish. Not sure what Prussian I am. My assumption is German because Prussia no longer exists. So, and it split up, but who knows? I'm a lot of things.
People are saying you're the bad guy from Reacher season 2. I assume that just means
What is that? I missed it. What is Reacher? Who's the bad guy in Reacher 2?
You're the bad guy in Reacher 2.
But like, what is he? Like, why am I?
You like if you turn on Reacher 2 right now, there's a guy named Matt Binder, and he looks exactly like you.
Is there really?
Just yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Just quickly, so
where
Red,
is
thank you
it?
for the
Because
$2.
I
Our
would
Vance's
believe you
kids half Indian and half couch. Calm like a bomb. Thank you for the $2 for the Chico treat fund. And all y'all, you're up.
That's funny.
Go.
Do we want to, Matt, just go through?
Before I was going to just say that I would have believed you about there being a character in Reacher 2 with my name, because the other day I turned on Netflix and Netflix is recommending me a new movie about like a spy, and in the summary it says the spy's name, and the spy's name is literally my dad's name, Alan Binder.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In this new Netflix movie, and I had like a double take because it's very weird that they recommended me that movie front and center.
Interesting. Do we want to just go through all of our super chats like we did last time, Matt? Make it a little bit quicker, one by one. I feel like that was a really quick system.
I know there are a couple ones people asked me, but I have to go soon. So yeah, I don't want to like.
Well, why don't you read any of the ones that mention Zed then?
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll go to the Zed mentions, and then we'll do one by one, and then we'll get out of here. So this one I think this is for Binder, for Zed.
Yeah, Meow 9.
Zed, that's on MK1 Chaos Reigns, weak guest characters. Well, as somebody who got to do the last song on MK1 and everything like that, here's what I'll say.
Flex?
Humble flex. Yeah. Look, here's the thing. As somebody who has seen a lot of like fighting games and stuff like that go through periods where they're trying to get guest characters, they're trying to make sure they pivot, in a very difficult cycle, because they're going through a lot of difficulty there. Not necessarily because of the developers there, but because Warner Brothers is going through a lot of crazy shit. Right? Like if you're at all involved under the Warner Brothers umbrella, there's a lot of stuff going on that's very difficult, especially because they're cutting jobs, they're selling off properties and everything like that. And NetherRealm is caught in the middle of it. They are trying their best with what they are given, right? So I will always have some sympathy for the people involved. I know that they care a lot. I know that they're trying to work. I'm not trying to give you like a PR response. I think that
you can't talk shit. You're contractually obliged.
No, I can talk shit. I can talk massive shit, right? Like the fucking Evo was done. I can talk all the shit I want right now. So don't bait me. I think Conan is fine. I think the T1000 I'm excited for, right? And I think whenever you have
T1000 looks cool.
Yeah, I think whenever somebody goes, oh, these guest characters look weak, they always end up proving you wrong a little bit, right? And Street Fighter 5, but listen, Street Fighter 5 was the Dark Ages 2 for fighting games. There's a lot of people who weren't playing them, and it was very, very tough. And the fact that they ended up having certain characters that were not exciting to some people but became exciting later on should tell you that the developers are listening to people and fans. And if you ended up seeing Mortal Kombat 1, the finals for Evo, it was incredibly exciting. But even with 2 Johnny Cages, which are
was that the final match? Johnny Cages?
Yeah, it was Johnny Cage versus. One of those things. It's one of those things when you see like competitive fighting games, and this is something that I haven't talked about as much, but it's like because it's becoming such a job at this point, it's very hard for when a new game comes out for the meta to not be dominated by like 2 or 3 characters. It takes time for games to kind of develop out. So like last year with Street Fighter, there was a lot of Kens, a lot of JPs, and a lot of it was very kind of homogenous with a lot of the character selection. This year, after the patch, it's wide open. There was so much selection for different characters. It was an amazing. Even if you don't follow like fighting games, worth just kind of taking a look and seeing what it was like. And it was a lot of fun to watch. So I have the utmost faith, because I think it's going to continue on for a while. MK1 and the way they do it, that it'll turn that ship around. But have a little bit of grace, because whenever you have a fighting game with its 2v2, it's really historically 2v2 fighting games have had a lot of like heat brought on them because of it's just I don't know why, but historically it's just always tough, you know. But yeah, I think the T1000 looks cool, and I'm sorry I couldn't give you like a yo fuck all this shit. I think developers are going. I know they're trying really hard.
I'll say that because I love the MK games and I love MK1. I think was fucking it's fun, but like at the end of the day, stop charging people for fucking fatalities and costumes and all that kind of shit. Like this endless microtransactions, it ruins the shit.
Hate that
you know,
shit.
If you spend $100 on a video game, you should get the video game. You should get it. You know, like not like I'll get all the characters by paying all this money. Like fuck that noise.
There's a
They
lot
were
of
charging for fatalities.
Yep.
Yeah, you can do easy fatalities, but you got to pay. Yeah. Like paying money just to push 2 buttons instead of actually learning the fatality. Like what the fuck, you know?
And I think in general, like with that, like there's a lot of things on the publisher side that need to be reworked for the way these things are monetized. I think the games industry is learning very, very quickly what the boundaries people have for DLC are. Because before they thought they could just offer and you know it's going to be all good, but like prices have gone up. People do not want to. There's so many games now, right? Like you don't want to be working on DLC that is overpriced and trying to piecemeal somebody into a game because people just don't have time for that these days. But again, I have faith in those teams to kind of turn it around and I mean like Capcom's listening, and I know that NetherRealm is listening too. They're trying. So.
Zed,
I'm sorry, I can't be an
actually.
asshole.
More dong.
You've got a couple of chats here. People have questions for you. Yeah, we got this one.
Oh, Zed, loved your Real Folk Blues performance, your Philly D and personal channel. Keep fighting the good fight, man. Thank you so much. If you didn't know, during the pandemic, we did a giant, if you've ever seen Cowboy Bebop, we did a giant cover of Real Folk Blues. And then me, Megaran, and Substantial did raps at the end. And my rap, Yoko Kanno, the original composer, came on and did a thing on my rap as well, which was really fucking cool. And then
That's
Steve
cool.
Boone came on and said bang during my rap, which was awesome. Yeah, and that was when I was broke and couldn't do this for a living, so it was
That's
like a big
amazing.
fucking moment for me. So yeah, thank you so much. That song means a ton to me. And Philip is still really, really cool and is a lovely, lovely friend and featured me on his like little live stream the other day, which was great. And I appreciate all the love, man. Thank you so
I didn't
much,
see
Mr.
that.
Paul.
Zed, you gotta ask Phil when you have a chance when he's gonna do his personal vlogs again. Because I usually don't like vlogs, but I binged literally all of his vlogs in one day. Like he had like maybe 6 or 7. It was so relatable because we're the same age and kind of have like the same life experience in some way. I'm like, this was super relatable. I'm gonna watch one, I watched them all. I'm like, I need more Phil. So when the fuck is the vlogs coming back? Those are good.
I think it's. I mean, I don't want to speak for him. Like, I think he does really well on those things. Like, all of his live stream stuff is like great. I think it becomes one. I think it's a time thing too. I also think the internet can be very, very like, and I've just seen because I've seen certain people like come onto my channel from his and be like, "Yo, you need to tell your boy Phil to talk about this right now." I'm like, "What?
Oh God!"
I'm not like instructing him to do like, you know, like, and people do the same and it gets a lot. So. Like I understand his and he also just like moved. He's got a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, man, like no, like I think he wants to start doing that.
Those
that
are
again.
great. Yeah,
they're great. They're
his
awesome.
regular content is amazing too. I've been watching Phil for a long time. He's great. But yeah, those vlogs are great too.
Yeah, I think he should definitely keep doing that. I think he's also one of the most, especially in an era where everybody has like partisanship on like 12. He's one of the more relatable people who's just like all like, what the fuck is this? What is going on? And I've always liked how even keeled he is, you know. And that's something that I aspire to be, is just kind of even keeled in a situation instead of hyperbolic all the time, you know. But
yeah, no,
you know,
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, we got another one for you.
What did Zed think of the new Eminem album? That's going to be a lot of. I don't even know if I want to answer. My thought would be, if you think of the concept, if you follow the concept well enough, it's his best album. If you have not followed the concept, it has a lot of problems. So I think the way people consume music now, they listen to like the first couple songs and they won't like really listen to the album sometimes. And so it's very easy to think that he's admonishing like a lot of things about like
I disagree. This is probably the most I've ever disagreed with you. His best album, if you follow the concept, I I mean, I'm not even an Eminem hater. I think Eminem has some absolutely incredible albums.
Yeah.
I think he's a really, really good MC, and I think it's profoundly ridiculous. I just hate the whole like, you can't cancel me, Gen Z. It's really, I'm playing a character, and the character is my old persona, and I'm a different
I think that's the thing. That's you just kind of illustrated my point. Like so it's like it's one of those things where like if you listen to the first 4 songs, that's what you come away with. If you listen to the entirety of the concept album, is the idea that like the identity of somebody who is like super anti-woke and everything like that, this thing that everybody's been latching onto from the Gen X generation is terrible and it needs to be deaded. And like it ends with basically him talking about, because he has a non-binary daughter. Or non-binary kid. I'm sorry, I don't mean to misgender anybody, but one of his kids is non-binary, and he's admonishing it, and then he pretty much near the end admits that everything that I did with that was terrible. I have to grow up, and it's this great catharsis, and that's great. That's a great message to have. But if you're trying to have that over an 18-track album, it's very hard because in this culture, people piecemeal things together. They take things apart. And it's very hard for you to deliver that message in a way that makes sense and works, right? Because what people will take away from it is, oh, you can't cancel me, Gen Z. You can't do anything like that. Like the whole point of that like literally, it's very clearly called out on the record, is like, that's stupid to say. Like, you can't cancel me, Gen Z. You can't do this. Like, that's him making fun of it. But people aren't going to get that if they're listening to like the first 4 tracks and they're like, this is fucking dumb, I'm gonna turn that off. And so I think it comes into odds with how people consume music. I think it has like, I think the concept is cool and like skill wise, it's his best skill wise, but yeah, it doesn't work it doesn't work with the way people consume music nowadays. And I think, Lance, your reaction is 100%. Like, it's not.
Oh no, it's just I personally
Yeah.
love concept albums. Deltron 3030 is one of my favorite albums of all time. I'm a huge fan of like the concept album and taking people on kind of like a journey, almost like an experience through it, right? And
the narrative concept of like saying all that shit up.
I love it in theory. In theory, I was like, this is a cool idea. He's gonna kill off Slim Shady and kind of show his growth and all that kind of stuff. And like, I'm sorry, but there are songs in there, even if it's him playing a character in which he is just punching down and reinforcing a lot of terrible shit.
Yeah,
and there's just like there's no escaping it. There's no like, yeah, but it's in the service.
I don't disagree with you there.
It's like, no, this is all dehumanizing shit, and this is what you've been called out for. I think rightfully, right? Like, he went from the F-slur dude to fucking this, but like, yeah, there is some good tracks. There's some bangers. I'm just honestly, it was kind of one of those things.
No, but I think we agree. I think we agree on that. I think I'm in agreement with you on that. That's kind of what I'm saying. So like, I'm saying, like, if you're taking into account like let's say you take his concept into account and you're like, okay, this is exactly what you're trying to do. The misfire is the fact that it has to be contextualized with that to get it. And if you don't get the context, then 100% it's just punching down, right? You can't be ironic. If you're trying to be ironic and the delivery system isn't understood, that's the problem. Like, we talk a lot about how stand-ups are like, oh, you can't say anything now. You can if people understand the concept of your joke, but if people don't understand the concept of your joke and it just comes across as punching down, you are punching down. You didn't put the things there. You didn't put the setup well enough for people to understand you're being ironic. Or Don Rickles was always ironic, was always the idea like, okay, this is not punching down. You understand the context of everything that's there. But a lot of people these days don't have that, right? What's that fucking guy who did like crowd work, like, and then like shit on his whole audience? Like, he had an audience of women, and then he did this whole
stand-up
Matt Rife.
Rife. Like, Matt Rife wants to have this ironic kind of thing of just, I'm just talking shit, I'm joking, but nothing in there.
Drake too.
Drake
was someone who had a female audience, and like just fucking was completely disrespectful to them.
So like, and that's the thing is like, I like to take things like, again, if we want to understand where things went wrong here, where it went wrong was the album is padded out in such a way where you don't tip the hat quick enough or in a way that is conducive enough for people to understand that you're not punching down, which means you are punching down at that point, you know? And I think that that's one of those things that, like, it's a lesson in hip hop that a lot of people just need to learn. Like Rick Ross hasn't learned it. A lot of other rappers who are kind of old school have not learned it, you know? And it's one of those things where, you know, even if you do like the concept of the album, you have to be reticent that not everybody is going to understand it the way your perspective is understanding it, right?
Well, I think that's a communication issue, because like look at like Kendrick Lamar with Auntie Diaries. He did a great job at explaining how he's grown in a single song. By the third verse, you're like, oh, I get it.
That song was ripped apart though when it came out. Like that song was immediately ripped apart. And so that's the other issue with it, right? Like even on Mr. Morale, I think Mr. Morale is another great example. That's a brilliant album. That's brilliant. But there are also points on that album where a lot of people are like, wait, this doesn't, why is Kodak Black on here? What are you saying here? Like, what are you saying?
But I agree with that criticism. Multiple things can be true at once, right? It can be a beautiful album, and it can be about a lot of, you know, very complex issues, including, you know, black abuse and you know, the historic abuse and all that kind of stuff. And at the same time, you can have an abuser on the album, right?
Yeah,
like,
and I think
multiple things can be true at once.
I think also I think the reason he released that little complex, like little interview joke thing he did was to try to clarify the concept of the album itself. So look, I mean, like that's kind of my point, right? Is that, and like, again, like Lance, I'm not disagreeing with you at all here. I think I'm
this is fun. People in the chats are like, holy shit, Eminem debate in 2024. Let's go.
But I think that's important. I think that's important to clarify with music, right? The way we consume a medium is also important to the way that we digest it, right? You know, like, and I'll end with this, you know, like we talk a lot about Marvel and everything like that. Like, and I'm a big fan of Marvel. And I remember a lot of people talking about, you know, around the time where Endgame was coming out, there was a lot of detractors being like, well, Tony Stark's actually a war profiteer. But the whole point of Tony Stark is, yes, he's a war profiteer who realizes it and tries to go back. And that's his whole arc. Right, but
you can't go back
in the comics. I never read the comics. Is he cooler in the comics? He's comic characters are cool and then they're terrible and they're cool and then they're terrible. Peter Parker, Spider-Man's the best comic until they retcon everything, and then you have to be like, why the fuck do we have to live with this for 4 years, right? So like, I think there's a lot of things about like comic books that are open and different, and it's hard to understand context, but especially in a world where you're one of the biggest rappers who, like, one of the greatest rappers who have ever lived, right? And I think if you're an Eminem fan, you immediately caught the distinction. But if you're not a fan, if you're somebody who's just kind of looking from the outside in, especially in this kind of climate, you need to be reticent as to how your message is being delivered, because it's going to be co-opted and it's going to go through a lot of different issues, right? And you're going to be written off. I'm tired of it. I am an Eminem fan. I love the Eminem show. Like I don't
mean like that. Right? I don't mean like you're not a fan of his music, but I mean like in the sense that if you're somebody who follows, like if you hear about an Eminem release and you get like, oh my god, I'm excited for an Eminem release, right? If you're somebody who's like following, exactly. Yeah. Like if you follow him closely, then yeah, you
got the NFT sales. That's became an NFT sales.
Was ridiculous. That also was ridiculous.
But you know what? I've forgiven Snoop. I have not forgiven Eminem. I don't know why. Like Snoop is just like,
Snoop gets the pass for a lot.
He does everything. He's like, he's the Olympics guy. He does porn. He does this. It's just like he's just everything. Yeah. Martha Stewart. He does it all. You know.
I've got a soft spot for Snoop. Honestly,
he just gets a pass.
I love Snoop. I love Snoop to death. But that's my feelings on the album. I did a video on it, but I never dropped it just because I was so fucking tired with Evo stuff that I didn't want to like make the thumbnail and shit like that. But like. But yeah, that's basically my feeling on the album. And I think like again, I'm not trying to like make you like a poster child, Lance, but like that's the example, right? Like you're somebody who felt like this is punching down and everything like that, and that is a completely valid opinion to have, and that's 100% correct, because again, it's on you as the artist to clarify what the context of the thing is. Like as soon as your mic comes on, it's on you. You have to figure it out now.
I agree, but like just one little piece on that. I just want to add an asterisk is that at the end of the day, if you were part of an out group, he's not LGBTQ plus himself, and he has a lot of lyrics about trans people, about gay people, all this kind of stuff in that album. If you are unaware and other people are telling you that, like, even in servitude of you doing this high concept, hey, by the way, I'm wrestling with my own kind of homophobia, transphobia stuff, and I'm going to express that in playing a character. In doing that, you still have to listen to those communities, and you still have to listen to trans people who were coming out and saying this shit ain't it, right? Like you can't, as a white person, just start like being like, hey, I use the N-word but for good, like something like that. It's just that kind of idea, right?
I think the other thing also with the response is there was a lot of varied response around that time, right? So there was a lot of, like, I know that there was specific trans members who were like, why is he punching down? I also saw people who were trans influencers, specifically like Robin Tran and everything like that, being like, oh well, I enjoyed this album, right? So like all of those are that's not explaining it away, right? But that's kind of illustrating my main issue with it, right? Is that it's one of those things where you're it's not even the concept. It's just like whether your words are taken as they are or whether they're in service to a different context. And I don't think that, and I think you're absolutely right. You need to meet with people, but also even if you meet with people and they tell you this is fly, you also have to understand that those people are one sect of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I meet with I have a song that I did a while back where it was talking about like I haven't released it, but talking about like kawaii culture and stuff like that, right? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna call it Kawaii Girls, and it's gonna be about nerdy culture and everything like that. But it risks the thing of being like, some of the lyrics risk like, okay, well, is this like fetishizing Japanese culture? And I'm not Japanese, so am I not allowed to say that? And so I talked with a few Japanese people who I knew who were from Japan. They're like, oh, this is totally fine. But I still changed certain things because certain Japanese American people who I talked about didn't like it. And they were like, listen, like it's a different culture. People from Japan feel differently and are a little bit more conservative and don't really care. Certain people who are from Japan here have a different context because of the way they're treated in America, right? So you have to look at more than just one subsect group in order to make sure that works. I'm going through a long laundry list of things, but I'm just trying to clarify, like, look, I think you have a valid point, and I think that that's an issue, but like, I'm not trying to explain away his problems on the album.
Oh, of course. Like, no. I'm just saying I disagree. It's, we agree to disagree on the Eminem.
No, but I'm saying I agree with
clip,
you.
And it's going to be a debate.
Yeah.
From the serfs
the Eminem debate 2024.
Okay, we've got this one for you, Zed. I think it's just an observation.
For Zed, what do Elon Musk and Tony Stark have in common? Both are proof that the best thing a billionaire can be is imaginary. Yep, that and Bruce Wayne. I hear the new Bruce Wayne. Thing is the new Batman is very ACAB. So I'm pretty hyped for that.
Oh, cool.
Batman,
Batman is
Bruce Wayne. What?
Wow.
What?
Batman's always been like, yo, the cops fucking suck.
No, yeah, not really.
There's a lot of leftists who say that he is a cop, though.
Yeah, I've always
he goes after the poor.
He's told that it depends on the writer.
With the cops.
He's worked with the cops. Yeah. He also has an unshakable faith in the system,
with the
which is
cops.
problematic.
I also consider Spider-Man a cop too, effectively, because he works with the cops.
You know who doesn't fuck with the police? The Punisher. Ironically, it was the fucking Punisher. That dude. I used to read the Punisher. Man, he does not fuck with cops. And your cops love him. It's wild. Yeah.
You got this one for you, Zed.
Have I met J.M. Crofts? I've not met J.M. Crofts. I would like to meet J.M. Crofts. I know we know a lot of the same mutuals, so one of these days would love to meet him and chat him. I got to meet a lot of people who were in the fighting game YouTube space, like a lot more. I knew a lot of like older players, and then I got to meet a lot of new influencers in the fighting game space. Like if you ever go to Evo, like every single time it's basically just a bunch of people being like, hey, so what are we doing after the convention hall closes? Everyone's like, go to the central bar in the hotel everybody's at, and then everybody's just getting trashed in the middle of the bar.
Nice.
So so I mean, I'm looking forward to. I would love to, if anybody knows him, hit him up and be like, hey, Zed wants to say hi, and I'll be like, hey, hi. I'd rap and shit, and he'd be like, that's cool, and then we can just stand in a room alone. for no reason.
All right, we got this one for you.
Zed, if you were live out of Super Chat. Oh, I keep forgetting to go live on my channel as well.
Well, next time we'll have to remind you to connect it before we go
Please,
live.
I would love to do
That'd
that.
be cool.
And that would be great. And everything like that. And
last one for you.
Oh, cool. To Zed, who do you main in Tekken? To Mike, do you have an audiobook version of your book, perhaps in that Google books app? I am a basic ass bitch. I main Jin. I play Ryu in every single game. I play Cody in Street Fighter sometimes, but also I like Azucena. But I feel like Azucena is she's still broken? I don't know, but I like playing Jin. I like doing the electric wind godfist whenever I want to, and I like being Harada's favorite sometimes. So that's my fun little thing.
Lizzie, I don't have an audiobook yet. It might be coming in the future. For the first thing I need to do is figure out how to get signed copies out. I still have not done that. I'll be honest, I haven't really looked into what would be the best way to do that because I've been very I guess distracted with the election coverage and stuff, but it could be coming in the pipeline. So just look out for that. You'll all hear about it. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll read my super chats. I'll just go through them really quick, and then we'll go to you, Matt.
Perfect.
So,
Yo, guys, it was wonderful. I've had my girlfriend. She's playing Fortnite. She hasn't gone to be on mic the whole time. So I appreciate you guys
Just
for
go
having
ahead.
me.
Yeah, no problem.
yeah, you take care, man. It was nice having you.
Thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, always fun hanging out.
I would love to. Let's make the gap less next time. I'd love to come on soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Talk soon, guys.
All right, you take care.
You too, brother.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So I've got a member for 12 months, Donald James. Thank you so much. The next one here is going to be from Shad. Shad Demas with $2. Obama, the emperor of the Democratic Party. I mean, yeah, kind of, right? Ryan Chan with $5. Thank you. Josh Shapiro sounding like Obama should be automatic disqualification for vice president, and I think Republicans can attack him for that alone. Yeah, I really despise the fake Obama accent, the cadence, the tone. It drives me nuts. It just comes off as really inauthentic, and I don't. They need to have their own personality. It drives me nuts.
Where's
so
that
yeah,
go?
I'm with you. He checked out, but he says goodbye. And
Goodbye.
Fuck your Eminem tech. No, I'm just kidding. You didn't say that. Okay, Layla Spellwind with $5. Thank you so much. Mike, last time I super chatted Matt. Today it's you. I've been arguing with transphobic bigots all day. Your videos offer me a breath of sanity. Well, I appreciate that. Listen, my advice would be to try to not argue with transphobic bigots because they have brain damage. So it's really hard to get through to them. I honestly think they have brain damage, like unironically.
I don't know if you've seen clips of Megyn Kelly from maybe like 6 or 7 years ago, and she was always like, right wing, obviously, Fox News host, but she was like at that time basically kind of like blackface isn't that bad if your kids do it, kind of like that here.
Yep.
And since she's gone transphobic, oh my God. Like if you watch her YouTube channel now, it's just straight up like her latest video. It's her and Ben Shapiro. They're arguing with each other. Well, sorry. Ben's talking about how weird is a slur and it's projection. And it's that it's all of the left and the liberals who are the weird ones kind of thing. And then in minutes, she's like talking about how RuPaul's drag race, the floors are covered in blood and human flesh from top surgeries and shit like that. And you're just like, oh my God, I had no, but like you could just see the turf brain, like the transphobia, it rots them to their core until they're sick and twisted, right? And then all of a sudden it's like now it's like, yeah, human flesh lining the floors of RuPaul's drag. I'm like, oh my God, she weren't like this. Like she was not like this.
They're so deranged. Like honestly, there
sounded
needs
like
to
you were
be-
singing a metal song. It's a human flesh set on the floor.
Yeah, but honestly, it sounds like that. Yes, she does sound like a fucking hardcore metal band. Human flesh, drink the blood. Like,
I swear to God, I've never met a TERF or a transphobe that's just like, man, they're a pretty normal person, but we really disagree about this issue. They're so fucking insane. It's so
they're so weird. They want to shoot beer. They want to shoot beer with guns and kill beer cans. What made you like this? How
It's
did
brain
you get this
damage.
divorced?
Yeah, it's straight up brain damage. It's so crazy to me. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with transphobes. Like, maybe we do need to bust out the calipers and measure their skulls. Like, we're fucking.
Let's start doing phrenology for
Let's do it on them. Yeah, something's wrong with them.
Phrenology, but for good.
Take it back.
This can't possibly work out.
Like some is seriously fucked up with these people. Like, they honestly have brain damage. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's honestly insane.
So wild. It's so wild.
I don't know how to react to it.
It's a 0 to 100 thing where you're like, but like you must, like, as soon as you leave the echo chamber, again, like if you talk to people who aren't really into politics, I have friends who've been like, I don't consider myself a leftist. I was like, I don't consider you a leftist, but they're like, but by virtue of how extreme the right sounds now, I feel like I am one. Like it's just like the way they're talking, you know, like I was like, yeah, I know they've gone so far right that everything in the distance seems like extreme Marxist communists when someone's like, you know, maybe you should buy local. I drive a hybrid. Oh my god, radical communist extremist. Like, no.
Yeah. That's such a great point. Like, I have like my family members who are like more fundamentalist, religious, more socially conservative, but a little bit more normie, apolitical. Like, the worst that I hear from them, like about trans family members, is like, oh well, I just don't understand it. I hate the sin or not the sin, and it's like, okay, that's fucked up, but it's not like they're mutilating kids. Like there's a difference, you know, with the levels of psychotic behavior that we're seeing. I genuinely am so shocked by it.
On my stream last night, I was talking about how, like, you know, Elon Musk could have like approached the situation with his daughter, who's transgender, much differently. Like, listen, I get it. Like, I don't agree. I don't feel the same way, but I understand that there are people who are uncomfortable with this or don't understand it. If you're a parent and your kid comes out as trans, I understand it could be rough for you. Again, I don't feel that way, but I can see where you're coming from, especially if you're older or not so progressive, more conservative or whatever. But like, there are parents who have trans children who don't necessarily personally agree, quote unquote, with that, but still love their child and are in their life. Like, Elon Musk could have easily done that and still been like a decent guy, all things considered, as a parent. But instead he's decided to say that his child is dead. Like, like, that's
profoundly
ridiculous.
Fucked.
Like, there are
turn it into a movement.
Right. Like, there are religious families who have trans children who like don't agree with it or whatever, but still view that person as their child who they have unconditional love for. Like, but that's clearly not how Elon Musk feels.
Yeah, just the loudest transphobes on the internet, they are absolutely as far away from like the average person as you can get. Like, there are transphobes just everywhere in society, but like the degree of intensity that you see from people like J.K. Rowling, it's next level. Like,
it's an obsession. It's an obsession.
Yeah.
You are willing to firebomb your legacy for this shit. Like, it's profoundly, like, look at Glinner. Look at like just the timeline of the strange, the divorce particles, how they just accelerate as he goes deeper and deeper into this shit, and eventually they overlap with like flat earthers, fucking racist, race realists. Like, it's not too long before you start doing some really fucked up shit.
Yeah, it's giving culty vibes. Like, I don't think it's a cult, but it's giving culty vibes. Like, that level of like dedication. It's fucking weird, man. Okay, so the next one here is from Shad again. Thank you for the $5. Mike Figueredo is a man. Well, thank you so much. I would like to think I am. So I appreciate you saying that, I guess. Thank you for the gender
Mike,
confirmation.
If that's true, show us your genitals. That is the weirdest shit they go in. I just cannot understand it at all. Like, it's so weird.
Can we play the Jean Lajoie video a little bit? He predicted all of this 16 years ago. I don't know if you've seen
Well,
"Show
I've
Me
never
Your
seen
Genitals" by Jean-Louis Joie. Really? Oh yeah. This is 100% the RNC. This is
John
this is
LaJoie
100%.
guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
from
okay,
Quebec.
I've seen that. Oh
Okay,
my god, I need to rewatch
just
that.
watch the first. Yeah, watch the first couple minutes of this and tell me this is not the RNC 2024 like verbatim, word for word. It's
Can
like,
we
hey, by
play
the way,
that? Is that like
oh
copyrighted?
yeah, that's fine. No, I
Okay.
played it on stream today. I didn't
He's the
get
dude that
a
did the whole guns don't kill people. I
Yeah,
kill
that dude.
people with guns.
I put it in the chat. But like, listen to the lyrics, and this is like, just keep in mind how every single like right winger and Republican is essentially like, hey, we need to tone down the sexism and the racism and the strange and the weird, and then basically this is how they're replying.
God, it's been a while since I've seen this.
It's in the chat of the Streamlabs.
Okay, here we go.
Women are stupid and I don't respect them. That's right, I just have sex.
Oh my God,
Show
this
me
is
your
them.
genitals. Your genitals.
What?
Show me your genitals. Genitalia. Show me your genitals.
Oh my God.
Your genitals. What? Show me your genitals. Genitalia. You're talking to me about stuff. Why? I'd rather see your titties. Now you're talking about other stuff. Why? I'd much rather see your titties. I can't have sex with your personality, and I can't put my penis in your college degree, and I can't shove my fist in your childhood dreams, so why you sharing all this information with me? It's not sexist cause I'm saying it in a song. That's right, bitch. Now take off your thong and show me your genitals. Your genitals. What?
I've never seen
Right?
it before.
Right? But is that not the RNC 2024?
Oh my
like
God.
verbatim?
I've never seen this before.
Prophetic.
That's their entire platform.
Wow. God, that was a throwback. Holy shit. Okay, let's see. I think I'm here. This is from Ep.84 Ramos with $5. Thank you. It kind of feels like we got women in the national divorce, so life is pretty good. Yeah,
I
right.
love that. I love
That's an
that.
amazing point. Shad with another $5. Thank you, Shad. You know what's funny? Anyone who dislikes the transes will be shocked when they realize Dragon Ball Transformations has the trans word in it. Yep. I'm assuming they would be. Layla Spellwind with £5. Sorry, I had to skip another. I've gotten so many ads I had to skip, so you're not getting bombarded. So you're welcome, everyone. But anyways, huge right-wing riot in the UK. I saw that because of truly tragic event. That was the stabbing at the Taylor Swift like dance class or something, and people just ran with a Muslim did it, even though that
It's
wasn't
so
true.
fucked up.
So
we didn't talk about
ridiculous.
that, but profoundly fucked up and scary as shit just to see racists run with this. Like fuck Sargon of Akkad, fuck Nigel Farage, fuck every single far right person who has pushed this like dehumanizing Islamophobic shit where people immediately were just like, "Wah, fucking riots." And then it was like fash on fash violence. Like Jesus.
Those people are absolutely indirectly responsible for this. Like they've been fear mongering about Muslims now for like over a decade.
Oh,
and,
nonstop. The roaming rape gangs and they're raping white women. And it's just like all this old timey shit.
So
like,
fucked
fuck all of
up.
you.
Yeah. Chris Corcoran with $2. Josh Shapiro straight up looks like Bryan Singer. I don't know what Bryan Singer looks like, to be honest, so I couldn't necessarily agree or disagree.
I can see it. I see what you're working with.
Okay. I'm not sure. I'll have to check that out, but I'll probably forget. Jenna Doherty. Hey, Jenna, with $5. Thank you so much. As a trans person, I appreciate your nuance on Kamala. Well, thank you. I've had many leftists tell me I support genocide because I refuse to be erased by fascists. That is extremely fucked up. I think that line of thinking is just stupid and counterintuitive. Like, for me...
Counterproductive.
Yeah, counterproductive. Excuse me.
Why are you doing this?
Like, I live in a blue state, so it doesn't necessarily matter what I do. I'll probably vote for Kamala in a blue state just to like really repudiate the right. Not that that is going to do much, but anyways, like if I lived in a swing state, you bet your fucking ass I'd be voting for Kamala because I'm not voting because I love Kamala or any Democrat that they put up. I'm voting because I think that my trans family members should be able to stay in the country and not have to flee. That's why I'm voting that way.
I'm actually voting because I love Kamala. So just put that out there.
Mamala, as Bender frequently calls her.
That's my
sounds like a shit lib to me.
That's my single.
This is a shit lib take.
I usually vote for
I'm so over it.
I usually vote for who I'm crushing on. Hence my 2020 Joe Biden vote.
Nice.
Okay, Ryan Chan with $2. Thank you. Remember Kamala's Medicare for All of 10-year rollout plan? Oh my God, I don't remember that, but I remember some interesting Medicare for All plans. Back in 2020, there was Medicare for All Who Want It with Buttigieg. There was Elizabeth Warren's attempt to do like public option for the first 2 years, and then the second half of her administration, after she probably loses the House, then she do Medicare for All. Very weird plans. They just didn't really want to support Medicare for All. They were afraid. But yeah.
So, Mike, you when you said shit lib just reminded me of like, I wonder what Jimmy Dore's takes are right now on this entire like coconut tree pill revolution.
I've not heard of
I had no idea what
from him.
Yeah.
Where's
so
I
I just went to his website and it's like beat for beat the exact same talking points of Republicans and right wingers. Just every single video, like Kamala's inappropriate laughter shows her sociopathy. Kamala, whites for Kamala, ultimate cringe. Blah blah blah. Like they're all just like indistinguishable from a right wing channel covering these.
I wonder
topics.
if he's finally going to have the courage to just straight up endorse Trump. I wonder. Like, we all know he's going to vote for Trump. He might vote for RFK, to be fair. But, I mean, he's effectively, like, a Republican at this point. So, but I will say that I think he's a little bit more savvy than Dave Rubin in that he knows that being, like, the liberal comedian is going to get him a little bit more attention on the right. So he might try to, extend the whole I'm still a liberal thing. But, I mean, no leftist is watching Jimmy Dore. Unless it's to see what the fuck he's doing and saying now, because he's crazy as shit.
And to laugh at it. He's also got a video promoting Here Comes American Communism. Make communism great again with Jackson Hinkle. Now the American Communist Party.
Oh my God, make communism great. I'm sure his audience is going to be really down for that in the same way they were down for him saying critical race theory is actually not that bad. That's funny.
That's so funny.
God, who is this for?
Yeah, I know.
George Everett with $10. Thank you, George. Gut says Bashir will be the pick. The idea of him debating JD Vance seems too good to pass up. And he's the most popular Dem governor in the country. Plus, he can also carry PA with similar demos to KY. Yeah, honestly, I think that Waltz has jumped up above Bashir, but I'm fine with Bashir too. One thing that's interesting, and I can't unhear this since my husband pointed it out, but if you watch The Righteous Gemstones, there's a character named BJ on it, and he sounds just like Andy Bashir. He's kind of like a nerdy twink white guy who's married to the daughter.
Oh, right. He's a good character. He's a
hilarious character. Southern accent like that. And yeah, so he does remind me of that. But yeah, I would be fine with Bashir. Okay, let me see where I'm at. So I've got Robe Life next. That is Yo, what's up? Hey, not much. Sup? We've got Pandora Bryn with $4.99. I've just got a couple left, by the way. Today, my liberal-ish mom asked me if the M&M tube up JD Vance's ass store was really from his book. No, that's so funny. That's hilarious.
What did you tell her? Yes, it's real.
Okay, Zia Spots.
He stuck it. He stuck it between the couch cushions, and then he did a big jump.
He used it as a fleshlight.
I love that it's so believable. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like something inside Hillbilly Elegy."
I was just crying, laughing.
Did you see that? Did you see that some of like, this is not surprising, and I don't think it's really that big of a deal. There's because he was a college student when Facebook first came out, the first presidential ticket person who was that age when Facebook came out, and there's like pictures from him back in his early 20s leaking out, and there's one of him passed out on the floor after an
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
show you should put it on. You should put it on stream.
I don't know if I have it on me.
I did see that. Well, someone, I think it was a Guardian article, talked about how Hillbilly Elegy does not have anything about him fucking couches, but it does, and it's wild that people aren't talking about this, have a lot about him apparently having very, very strong feelings only for other boys and not having any romantic feelings for girls, and then feeling really, really guilty about that because of the preachers expressing that it's sinful to be a homosexual and stuff like that, and then him being really scared about that. I was like, yeah, I don't know if anything's there at all, right? Like it could just be someone working through his own shit or whatever. But like the couch stuff is just 100% fabricated.
Well, did you hear what his Mima said? Did you hear what his Mima said to him about when she? This is for real. When he came up to her to tell her that he thinks he's gay, and she
wait, was
says
it when
to
he was
him-
in 3rd grade and she's like, "Babe, you love girls since before pre-K"? Sorry, I'm quoting a Macklemore
No, it's
song.
something like she says
I
that-
didn't know about any of this.
No, I think she said something. Hold on, let me make sure.
Sorry,
here.
I had to.
Okay.
Hold on. All right, I'm pretty sure this is from the book. I want to make sure it's.
So to the people in chat asking, what about the monkey?
Okay,
nuts?
here it is.
That story is true. He essentially, as a venture capitalist, invested heavily in a company that was burning and injuring monkeys' genitals and testicles. That is true. The burnt monkey. Yes, that is a real story.
This is why we believe shit like the couch and the M&M's.
I know, because the real shit is worse.
Yeah.
All right, this is for real. Ready? I'll never forget the time I convinced myself that I was gay. I was 8 or 9, maybe younger, and I stumbled upon a broadcast by some fire and brimstone teacher. The man spoke about the evils of homosexuals, how they had infiltrated our society, and how they were destined for hell, absent some serious repenting. At the time, the only thing I knew about gay men was that they preferred men to women. This described me perfectly. I disliked girls, and my best friend in the world was my buddy Bill. Oh no, I'm going to hell. And then this is a report. This is not verbatim from his book, but this is a report. Later in the book, when he brought up the issue with his grandmother, known to Vance as Mima, she replied bluntly, and now this part is in quotes: "Don't be a fucking idiot. How would you know that you're gay?" When Vance explained his reasoning, she laughed. This is another part in quotes, so this is in the book. "JD, do you want to suck dicks?" she said. The young Vance, apparently flabbergasted, said, "Of course not." And then so she replied, "Then you're not gay. And even if you did want to wait. And even if you did want to suck dicks, that would be okay. God would still love you." What a good Mima.
She said this to an 8-year-old?
Woke Mima.
But also, she said this.
What?
I don't know how old he is here. I don't know.
Do you want to suck?
I don't know how old he is here.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Listen,
Well,
I'll just say this for
the
JD
plot
Vance.
thickens.
If you think you might be gay, then you're gay. Okay. No, to be fair, he might just be like a 3 or like a 2 on the Kinsey scale or something like
It's
that.
true.
You know what
that's
I mean?
that's
Like,
that's the vibes I'm getting. I'll be honest. I'm
Yeah.
clocking this on behalf of the bisexuals. I think.
yeah, I feel like the vibes that I get from him are mostly bisexual vibes. Although he does wear eyeliner, so you never know. You know. Okay, Zia Spots with $5. She says, "I'm happy to see Dems go and call a spade by calling Repubs weird, but honestly should go a step further and call them creepy as hell." Yeah, I think that's part of it, right? Because you know, they're weird and creepy. They're not necessarily synonyms, but like when you think of somebody weird, creepy also comes to mind given what they talk about. So, but yeah, I agree with you, Zia. Kowalski with $9.99. Thank you, Kowalski. As a high-value man, I only respect politicians who I think could beat me in a fight, or if they're taller than me. Therefore, only Kamala has my respect this election. She could totally kick my ass. That's fair. That's fair. 85 Ramos says, "Y'all reading David Superchats?" I think we will. Once we go through Matt's, then we will. I am completely done.
Oh, you are? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So let's get started on mine. Can you pull mine up for me while I go through and read them
Yeah,
on my
just
end?
let me know who
All right,
this one is the first one I see.
Tokyo Hans. That's
Tokyo Hans. Okay, I'm gonna find Tokyo Hans. Okay.
Shout out to our queen, Nancy Pelosi, listening to Leftist Mafia constituents and getting Joe to drop.
Yeah.
Joe finally listened to the youth in Pelosi's generation. He can adapt, right? Godcat 48th POTUS with a just a nice little super sticker. Thank you so much. Ep.84 Ramos with a super chat. Bashir is young. I would rather Walz run in 8 years. And then Bashir or Whitmer, maybe they're even Walz VP too. Dems need to have a roadmap. I said this last week that we totally shot our load too early by going with Obama in 2008. We could have saved him up. He was too young. He was really young. He still was young. Imagine if we saved Obama for Trump. Like, imagine if Obama was the guy in 2016.
Let's be real. If you were allowed to run for more than 8 years in the U.S., Obama would still be the president of the United States. Unbelievably popular,
Well, America would probably make him a dictator, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Let me be clear. I'm picturing him like giant like flags, like, very fascistically.
Let me be clear. Hope we can believe.
He's up there. There's a crowd just standing still, and he's just up there for a minute going,
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think in a couple of years, The Rock will be the president of the United States, and that's gonna be like that'll be Comancho. That'll be Comancho. You will do idiocracy in real life. You will elect a wrestler. It's gonna be some wrestler. Maybe it's not The Rock. America will elect a wrestler to the presidency at some point. It's happening. Just giddy up. Get ready. Season whatever of America. It's happening. Yep.
Parker.
This clip is going to haunt us.
Okay, finding it now.
With a 420 super chat. Cori Bush, huge primary versus Wesley Bell on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yes, if you are in Cori Bush's district, get out and vote. If you are in the surrounding area, maybe you could help canvass or whatever you can do. Knock on doors, make phone calls. You could phone bank even if you're not in the area, if you're anywhere. Find out how they can do this. Jamal Bowman was facing an uphill battle. I think Cori Bush is a better shot, even though she's also facing a very close contest. But it would look really bad.
AIPAC's spending a lot of money. It's so wild. Again, it's just like
really...
Well, I just want to say, as a Canadian, as someone who observes American politics from a distance, it is nuts to witness how much money AIPAC pours into elections, and the fact that it's like on the behalf of another nation's interests. Like the way that y'all go after, like, oh, they were influenced by the Chinese. Oh, they were influenced by the Russians. The Russian bots influenced our elections. And it's like this is just brazenly. They brag. They post things where it's like, here is the list of candidates that we have helped win. Like we have like a 95% success rate or 100%, like blah blah blah. You're like, that's wild. That's wild. It's so brazen, you know?
It really is fucked up.
Sorry.
Okay, what's your next one, Matt?
Oh, whoops, I forgot to tell you my next one. John Deere with a $4.99 super chat. Pritzker expands Illinois Medicaid under his first 115 waiver to cover housing, food, and nutrition services and violence intervention services.
Oh.
It's not going to be Pritzker. I don't even think they're looking at Pritzker. I don't even think he's interested. I don't feel like he's a guy who would take the VP spot. He seems like he wants to be the main event. He'll run for president in 8 years.
Yeah, and that'll be fine. Not a bad pick.
Yeah, no. Some people, that's the way to do it. I can't imagine like Obama being a VP. Like Obama was meant to be the main, the top of the ticket.
Yeah, he's Beyonce, not Kelly Rowland. No disrespect to Kelly Rowland, still very talented.
Right.
But just.
I mean, look, Biden was his Kelly Rowland, and look, he became he had his moment in the spotlight. Not as long and not as big as Obama, but
exactly. Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Tunbosin with a $5 super chat. Duck them for attacking Alona Mayer of U.S. Women's Rugby. Same people pretending to be manly man wouldn't last 5 minutes on the field. Congrats on third. Right, the women's rugby team, I think we mentioned it. They were dealing with this too, especially that player, Alona Mayer. I mean, she even posted an Instagram like reel of her like talking to camera about how she has to deal with people saying this horrible shit to her. Because she's like, I mean, she's a rugby player. What do you like? These are like rugby, boxing. Like, what do you expect the women who do rugby and boxing to look like? They need to gain a certain amount of muscle mass in areas that, to, I guess, conservatives make them look less womanly. I mean, but that's part of their sport, that they need to work out and gain muscle mass in those areas. I mean, it's bizarre. Like these guys are freaks. Like these right.
Yeah, it's profoundly strange. It's profoundly weird. Have you ever seen that photo that shows you all of those professional athletes in all these different categories? Like they each play a different sport, but they're all like Olympians, but in different sports and all their different body types. Where you're just like, these are elite athletes, but look how different every single man and every single woman looks, right? Like it's ridiculous to think that like it's mannish to have muscles. Gross. Meanwhile, they're like fucking dominated by mommy dommy porn, fucking on their search history, shit like that. Like you just know. Everyone is like, it's gay, like a woman who's got any kind of muscle definition. I was like, all right, buddy, fucking I
woman flexing bicep, hot, 1080p.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, bro, we're talking about the best athletes in the world. Like, they're not gonna be scrawny. Like they're gonna be jacked, man or woman. Like, it doesn't matter.
I'm surprised they didn't run with attacking. Maybe they did. I didn't see it. There was a Egyptian, I think, fencer, a woman fencing athlete, who revealed during the game that she was 7 months pregnant doing her fencing match.
Wow.
Like, I'm surprised they weren't like, what a horror, how dare she? Like something.
Yeah. I think this is your next one, right?
Yes. Wanda with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Wanda. I attended White Dudes for Kamala Zoom. It was really rich dudes there, like Jeff Bridges. Mark Hamill raised over $4 million. Just was invited to Catholics for Kamala. Gen Z still training remedial boomers. Ooh,
interesting.
Are they gonna? It is. Where did this come from? I know. It started with the white women for
no, it started with black women.
It started with black women. Black women did a Zoom call where they were estimated to have 4,000 participants, and it ballooned into 40,000 and crashed their servers and made a lot of headlines.
Oh wow, I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah. So that was a big thing.
All I saw was the people knocking the white woman one. So that's why I thought.
Well, there's like then all of a sudden all these like identity groups. You know what? Let's just get past the finish line, y'all. Let's get the coconut tree revolution.
I'll say this,
take place, and then November 6th we can look back and be like, that was weird.
I get the white women. I actually get the white women for a Kamala gimmick and angle, because it's a reflection on the fact that white women, surprisingly to people, voted for Trump last time around. And I think that surprised people. So I get how that's a play on that. But like, I don't think we needed the white dudes for
I love it. I think that there should be a category for every type of person. Like, I want to do so many of these that we finally get to like middle-aged women with pixie haircuts who love knitting for Kamala.
Right. I mean, that's
gay guys. I mean, with
you just
blue hair.
You just
for
described. You honestly just described the white women for Kamala audience.
Yeah, that's redundancy.
Then there's gonna be streamers for Kamala.
Gamers
creators for Kamala.
We gotta
for Kamala.
The most persecuted group. Come on, gamers.
We got to get like really, really, really specific. Like, I want a really specific one. Like, I want like
former birthers for Kamala.
Yeah, reformed birther truthers for Kamala.
Republicans for Kamala.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Who think 9/11 was funny?
Yeah.
Truthers
for Kamala. There you
Epstein didn't kill himself. Believers for Kamala. Vaccine injured for Kamala.
White's not welcome.
Vaccine injured for Kamala. It's really funny.
Transvestigated for Kamala.
They could add an addendum there, like anti-vaxxers for Kamala, and like parentheses after, except for the vaccine stuff.
Oh, that's funny. I love y'all. I gotta walk Chico. He's
all right. Take care.
Bye, fam.
See you next week.
Peace.
All right, we're almost out of here.
Yeah, my next is a Parker again with a $2 super chat. LA Knight gonna F up Logan on Saturday for that comment. I hope so. That's referring to this Saturday is WWE SummerSlam, and LA Knight is fighting Logan Paul for the U.S. title. LA Knight is a guy who is suddenly became a big star in the WWE. As he I think he is now 40 or is approaching 40, but he sort of is having his big moment now, late in his career.
Okay, well I hope he
wins. I hope he wins. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, what's your next one? This one?
Read this one because it was for our guest. Henry King became a member. Thank you so much, Henry King, with a chat here. $2 chat. What is that? What is that supposed to be?
Plausible, that is an eggplant emoji and a couch emoji.
Oh, it's pretty good. Plausible undeniability. Thank you. Layla Spellwind with a super chat. Hi, Matt. Everyone in chat. Lovely day to. Ooh, I have hiccups now. Lovely day to you all. Thank you, Layla. Lovely day to you too. Bob Carmody with a membership super chat, member for 8 months. Thank you, Bob Carmody, for being a member for so long. Trump complaining about fact checking really caused a delay. New York Times. Oh, that's why it was delayed. What? Of course. Henry King.
Blame them.
Right. Henry King with another super chat, $10 super chat. Whoa, $10. Thank you, Henry. Trump says the VP pick historically doesn't matter. Trump, so if you didn't notice, JD looks like Don Jr. That's why I picked him, and that's why he doesn't matter. Respectfully, give me a break. We never got to that clip, but it's really funny because Harris Faulkner is asking Trump the question, and the question is, Trump, we spoke shortly before the event where that shooter tried to assassinate you, and you said there that the VP pick is mostly just pointless because it's just like it doesn't really matter, but you had a premonition that it did matter this time and you needed to really make sure your VP pick was good. And then she asked, do you think JD so based on that, do you think JD Vance will be ready on day one if he needed to be? And he proceeded to go, the VP pick doesn't matter. Once he reversed back, he went back to the.
I didn't notice that.
Do you have the clip up? I mean, it's really funny.
I don't think I have that part because I kind of skipped over the JD Vance parts in my video.
That was actually my favorite. People are looking over that one. It's really funny.
I wish I picked up on that. There's a lot of gems in that.
Right. He basically says like he picked JD Vance because anything could happen, and it wasn't just a pointless like for show pick. And then now when asked that question, he's like, the VP pick doesn't matter. It's a for show pick.
That's great.
Egg Defender with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Egg Defender. $10. It's funny how the turntables, my vocally MAGA MAGA coworkers, got awfully quiet over the past week. It's been refreshing to see the conservatives on the back foot, pointing out the weird is working. P&B. Yeah, they like Trump himself. Those final weeks of Biden running a campaign, Trump was literally walking around and telling people what he was doing as if he already was the president. He was like reaching out to world leaders, preparing his cabinet. He was already treating himself like it was an undeniable, unavoidable reality that he's the president. He's going to be the president.
He was going to run up the score, try to do that in New Mexico, Virginia. Like he was really feeling good.
Now that's completely stopped. Again, I don't think it's a sure thing she wins, but we have a much better shot than with Biden.
It's a race now.
Yeah, it's a race now. Yes, absolutely. Carrie Shaw with a $20 super chat. Jeez, thank you so much, Carrie. $20. I kind of feel that Trump didn't pick Vance until after the failed assassination attempt because Trump felt invincible and could pick who he wanted instead of who would help him. Yeah, I mean, he really thought that like it was it. He could do whatever I mean, that's why he picked Vance. I feel like he felt like he could pick whoever he wanted, like you said. Yeah. John Deere with a $5 super chat. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the bill into law on Wednesday that bans companies from forcing workers to listen to their anti-union talk.
That's awesome.
He's really one for the future, and I think it's good that he is in the running for VP because we need someone to rally behind in like a Democratic primary in a couple of years.
Yeah, we need a strong bench.
And I think he'll probably be the biggest name nationally who is the most progressive. I guess barring if Waltz decides to run for president. But I guess it'd be a toss-up between those two, really. We got a few from Shane Foster, so let's read these in a row. Okay. Shane Foster says Atlanta was the Mecca building railroads and trains. And then Shane Foster says, bear with me for a second. Let me put y'all on game. And then he says the settlers was using town folk to make them richer. NC Sketchy with a $10 super chat.
He was
$10.
Just in case, because you probably don't know. He was citing the lyrics to "Not Like Us."
Oh, I didn't get it at all. I was just trying to be polite.
You're like, what the fuck is this?
I'll read it, buddy. Just saw a clip. Oh, someone's gonna like cut me reading, not knowing that I'm reading the lyrics. Because I was like, Atlanta was the Mecca, building railroads and trains.
I put it to the beat.
And I was like, bear with me for a second. Don't let me put y'all on game. I was reading it as straight up like loser nerdy white guy as possible. The settlers was using town folk to make em richer. I have no fucking clue.
I love it though.
NC Sketchy. Just saw a clip of Senator Kennedy on Neil Cavuto. I mean, you want to talk fucking weird. Senator Kennedy's has been a long time fucking weirdo in the Senate. My God.
Bighorn Foghorn.
Yeah, just saw a clip of Senator Kennedy on Neil Cavuto where Cavuto begs him to stop calling Kamala a ding-dong. Yeah. Kennedy just repeats, I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, Neil. Hilariously awkward, 10 out of 10. They are absolutely dumb as hell. Even Neil Cavuto is trying to help them, and they can't help themselves.
Yep. I did a video on that. Everybody check it out. It was hilarious.
Oh, you had seen it already? Okay.
Oh, cool. It was a great clip. Yeah, I pounced on that as soon as I saw it.
This next one is from Shane Foster again. Wop, 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 wop. Zaid, FM up. I don't know what that is, but let's continue.
That's more lyrics.
Oh, no idea. I didn't have a clue.
I think you knew that time. That was good.
Yeah, I did. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. You're on to me, Mike. Journeyman Ceramics with a super chat. Do you think Elon mad when he hears X dead named? I mean, I'm sure it gets to him a little bit. Kowalski with a super chat. No. Oh, that's not from me. Yep. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know.
Ruben Walton, he's got 2 in a row. Ruben's got 2 in a row. A $7 super chat, thank you, and throwing me an extra $1 for a total of $8. Let's read this. Anyone going to Provincetown this summer? No, I'm not. What is Provincetown? Is that a festival? Or a city in Massachusetts, apparently? I did not...
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not going there, so... no, I'm not sure what's going on.
Apparently, this is Provincetown's Bear Week?
Oh, okay.
Like for the LGBTQ plus community?
Yeah, like is it like actual like grizzly bears or like bear
like
twin?
that type of bear, not... The LGBTQ community is not going to be mauled by bears as they all like actual grizzly bears. It's the annual mauling of the gays. As grizzly bears descend on the town of Provincetown. Oh my god. I really think you and I hit our stride on this show when we're at the when we do the late night super chats, honestly.
Where our brain is like halfway like melting out of our ears. That's when we get the best content.
Okay. Whew.
Okay.
All right. H. Charlie Bodkin with a super chat. Anyone excited for local politics this year? I'm supporting Dylan Hirsch Shell for mayor of San Francisco, UBI and social housing. Sounds great. I have to look more. In terms of local politics, we New York City, all eyes are on next year, 2025. We already got we finally got people throwing their hat in the ring to challenge Eric Adams. Probably the best choice right now is Brad Lander, just announced with a campaign video he's running. He'll probably be the most progressive choice. As of right now, he certainly is, but we'll see, I guess.
I think you got one more, right?
Oh, I do, yeah. Zero PE with a super chat. Money to not read Not Like Us lyrics. LOL.
So we have.
Should I pull up the entire all the lyrics and read the whole thing for everybody in that same?
We already have Ben Shapiro doing
Certified
stuff like
pedophile. Wop, wop, wop.
Okay, so we have like one from David Dole. I actually got a couple more, so let me go through those really quick. Zero PE, thank you, Zero, with $4.99. A friend told me they were on the cat and dog people for Kamala call. There's no way. After JD's cat lady comment, these calls are getting nuts though. Seriously, that's actually funny. Wow. And then we have
ferret lovers for Kamala.
Rat ladies for Kamala.
Right.
Pan Kwee. Thank you for the $2. Habibi from the Progressive Voice wants an invite. He should have hit us up earlier. It's too late now. We'll have him on the week after next. I'll reach out to Sahil.
No. Next week we're having Brandon. Sutton
yeah. Week after next. Week after next.
I won't be here that week. So yeah, I'm gonna be missing a few weeks this month. Actually, unfortunately. I'll be out the week of the DNC, unfortunately. But luckily for me, it does seem like there's not going to be anything too exciting.
Right.
There's going to be no fight on the floor, no fight at the convention, no. Even the protests, I think, are going to be tamped down. There'll still be protests, but like there was probably going to be huge rallies and protests outside if Biden was still running. But now there still will be, but I don't think it's going to be as like because people are still waiting to see what Kamala's going to be like in there. I mean, she's already better than Biden. That one speech, I was again, bar is low, but it was just a breath of fresh air to see someone at least at the very least, if this is what she was doing, it was a step above Biden to even feign that they cared about the people in Gaza. It was just a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it's sad that that's like so different. Like we have to like latch onto that, but it is a big improvement, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have one more here. This is from Robe Life with $2. Thank you. Cat ladies are hot. Vance is a dork. Agree. Okay, so there was one that I saw for David Dole. I think I saw one more after this, but this one was from Michelle Carpenter, member or super chat for $4.99. How many people just paused one of these creators, others uploads when this live started? Let me read that again. How many people just paused one of these creators, other upload? Oh, when this live started again. Yeah,
that means they were watching one of our other videos.
I see. Yeah,
we went live and they had to pause that video, the pre-recorded video, to watch us live.
Yeah,
love to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I put out a video like an hour before the stream. So yeah, I appreciate you pausing because it's like sometimes those videos die if you're doing a live. Or the live doesn't get attention, so it's nice to see people kind of, appreciate them both. I don't know if we've seen this one yet. I think this is for David Doel as well, so I'll read it just in case. In my opinion, Kamala owes it to Waltz and Lance to choose him on account of their weird comment that has triggered the entire right for a week. Yeah, I agree. I think that is, yeah, he started this whole trend. He's a trendsetter. But Bay Photo for David Doel, $4.99. Thank you. I got sick about every 2 months when I worked at a pharmacy. It has to be the daycare for you. Feel better and feel better for the next time too. Appreciate that. We'll tell them. Okay, so I got one more. This is from JCast. This is the last one. Mike dressed up like he's going to a Kid Rock concert. That's fair. That's fair, JCast. Okay, well, that's it, folks.
You do look a little Fred Durst today, honestly.
Do I?
Yeah.
I think that's
over
fair.
on Twitch. Oh, and I should let people know this because I think I talked about this on my stream last night, and it sounded like I was cutting an ad for Apple TV Plus. But I swear to God, I'm not. I'm not getting paid for this. But Twitch let me know that they were doing this for the next 2 weeks in August to, like, I guess, help spur subscriptions to creators. And it seemed like a good deal if you were going to give a subscription to a creator or thinking about doing it anyway. Apparently, for the next 2 weeks, if you subscribe to a creator on Twitch, you get 3 months free of Apple TV Plus.
Wow.
And just, yeah. So if that interests you, twitch.tv/MattBinder or even twitch.tv/The Humanist Report, I guess, if you want to give money to him.
That's really cool.
But over on Twitch, just today, I only have a few. Rude Dog 2525 resubscribe at Prime, subscriber for 19 months. Wow. Thank you, Rude Dog. Great show. Love the Leftist Mafia. Metro with a hat, subscribe at Prime. Thank you, Metro with a hat. And that's it over on Twitch.
Well, do we want to raid Ariana Jasmine?
Oh, we should. Hold on. Oh, Rebecca. Someone asked where Rebecca was. Rebecca told us right before the stream that she had to do some family-related things. Nothing serious.
Her brother's in town, so she's visiting her brother, and she doesn't get to see him very often. So we understand for sure.
I was trying to be a little bit vague in case she didn't want all of her personal life spilled out here on the stream. But Mike is just giving it all out there. Listen, her brother, who she has a rocky relationship with, he's in town, and his wife just left him. So it's a really hard time for. Oh wait, someone said, Mike, you have a couple more super chats.
No, I got the last ones.
You did?
Yeah. I don't see any. If I missed it, then let me know, and I'll read them next time. But I'm pretty sure I got them all.
All right, let's pull up on. I gotta find her on the thing. Did you rate already?
No, not yet. It's Ariana Jasmine _
All right, clicking this. Jason Society is watching you right now. That's another streamer. Because it shows you like the thumbnail of what they're currently doing. And Jason Society is a streamer on Twitch. It showed me his thumbnail of what he was doing right now, and he's watching a Humanist Report video.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. I love to see that.
So shout out to Jason Society too, as we're about to raid Ariana.
Yeah, we'll have to raid him next time.
Yep. All right, I'm pressing the start raid button. I found her. All right, folks. Always a pleasure to see you all. Always a pleasure to be here with you, Mike.
Yeah, of course.
We'll be here next week with Brendan Sutton of the Discourse and of the Majority Report. If you watch Majority Report and Leftist Mafia, you will get me and Brendan Sutton together 2 times next Thursday in the afternoon and at night. So enjoy it.
That's gonna be fun.
All right, I'm gonna hit raid. Are you ready, Mark? 1.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
3. Boom.
All right, everyone. We will see you next week. Take care.
Take care.